really nice looking female, and the comments were disgusting. And that's probably when I realized like guys like feet, because that's never a thing for me. But that, and one time I got yelled at because I was putting in too many things bashing Canadian hockey, and Steve Coolius yelled at me.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. Week 4 picks against the spread, Cust Corner, mini game previews, and a whole lot more. If you ever wanted to support this show and you have not joined Underdog using code Mayo, suggest you get out $10, put it on Underdog using code Mayo right now, and get in the game, help support the show, all right? And if you are watching and are not subscribed to the Mayo Media Network on YouTube, do that. We're in the race for 50,000 subs, all right? Smash the like while you're here as well. We are coming to you a day earlier than normal. The Monday Night Football games have not happened as of this recording, so some of the spreads might be a little bit out of whack. But Geoff, it was either do the show now or potentially not do the show until Friday or something, which I really didn't want to do.
That was a wild card. We didn't take the chance. We got it to the people. It's a day early. There was like, you know, the potential of the sweet spot of the in-person, but I'm sure we'll be doing plenty of things so people get their beaks wet.
Yeah, the coin is in studio here. Paul's behind the camera. We are going to be in Montreal this week for the President's Cup. All football coverage will remain exactly the same, starting with best bets, and that'll be normal time, DraftKings show, everything like that. Plus, we'll have extra content, and we probably will do some stuff in person featuring myself, Paul, Geoff, and Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
That is not my name.
But you'll be there, live in person.
That's right.
I mean, we're supposed to sell that the content is going to be fun, not like super depressing like your voice sounds.
You asked me a question, and I answered it.
Oh my God, he's worse than last week.
Oh, the only question you asked me was, am I going to be there? And yes, I'm going to be there.
You were like, yeah, I'm going to be there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I answered the question, didn't I?
Listen, I would like to be able to sell this. Like, it's going to be fun. Tune into this content. You're like, yeah, don't tune in. I might kill myself on air.
People are going to tune in. People are going to tune in.
All right.
They want the content.
I want the content. Listen, I think that the content's going to be really fun. You, Geoff, and I rarely get to do shows together in person.
That's true.
I'll even leave the coin at home so you don't feel intimidated.
I do hope that the coin stays home. Lucky coin.
Lucky coin. I mean, maybe I should bring the lucky coin with me. The coin is killing us in picks, by the way. Looking at the recap, I went back and looked at the archives of the past 7 years. It was our worst week ever in terms of spread pick'em. It's not even done yet. I don't even think that we can crawl out of it. I was 3-11 against the spread. That's good. And both of you guys were 4-10. The coin was 7-7.
Well, I lost I got irresponsible yesterday. Like, that just cut right to the chase. So yeah, and I didn't even lose a cent on the Chargers because I didn't bet that game. But everything I put money on, I think I took a bath. So geez, just yeah. It's not fun.
Well, now you're at the same level as Tim in terms of enthusiasm.
No, I'm good. I get off the mat. Just I get a reminder usually once a season. This one happened, or I just got a little I've been so good at being disciplined through golf, through everything. I got undisciplined yesterday. I paid the price. Do it responsibly, friends. No
That's
joke.
because Geoff, you don't listen to your own lessons. Thankfully, you're going to listen to yourself talk for 5 hours tomorrow in podcast form as you drive up to your content. So hopefully you'll remember the various mantras that you preach as you listen to yourself on the drive up, and then put them into practice.
Thanks, Tim.
We were 0-3 on Super Locks. I'm out again in Survivor for the second time. Tim is out again, so Geoff win. I guess technically.
No, don't say again. Don't say again. This is the first time
I'm out again. Tim is out, and Geoff moves on. So Tim and Geoff are the only two people left now in second chance Survivor. Cleveland let me down. The Niners let you down, Tim, at the very last second. The Jets just cruised for Geoff in Survivor. So, yeah, overall it was a very bad week. Although, Tim, you and I got into a heated discussion about what the Eagles were going to do. So I got Jared to run the numbers on who agreed with me and who agreed with you. And guess what? The people agreed with me. 11% of people agreed with me, Tim. I am the winner.
Congrats, Pat.
Thank you.
Double digits.
Double-digit margin of victory. Who knew?
Double digits.
You see,
Glad to see that you got your interns keeping a little book for me.
now you see, I'm getting all the credit I deserve for being correct about this. How does it feel to be wrong?
Fine. This is still the greatest victory I've ever had.
Yeah, you see, it doesn't. Well, how is it a victory? I won. I got 11%.
I also claim victory.
No, you don't. You see, I got 11%.
You claiming victory has no effect on my
I got
capacity
11%. Therefore, I won. I'm playing by your rules on this one.
Maybe everyone wins.
It's tied fun to fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I hated this NFL week. I deserve what I get. All the picks I made were wrong. I deserve what I get. I have no feel for this week either. I considered not even putting a free money out there because there's nothing out there.
Yeah. You dropped to 0-3 on the free money, 27 and 139 lifetime now. The worst part about it, Geoff, is I can take losing money and losing picks publicly. I'm used to it by this point. But when the football also sucks, that sucks.
Yeah. So I can agree. Very boring. Andy Dalton's the only quarterback who can throw touchdowns.
And Rodgers.
And Darnold.
Yeah, the league, the league swings. There's a lot of like give and take with offense, defense. There's always going to be an adjustment. And I don't know, we're at this moment where all the teams are built, well, most of them, to sort of spread them out and pass. And I don't know, the clamps are being put on. Defensive line athletically it's just easier maybe to play than offensive line, but you could almost throw anybody out there on the D line. The median D line player is so much better than their like replacement offensive linemen, it seems, at this moment. Quarterbacks just don't have time to do it. Seems.
Is it that, or is it just like scheming? It really feels to him like the offenses are wildly underprepared for the season.
Underprepared, too complicated in some cases, running everything like it's NCAA football out of the shotgun when there's no reason to run it out of shotgun. And people are outthinking themselves and they can't do the actual blocking and tackling, which is essential.
Yeah. Are they fourth and short, like the 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 percentages favoring the defense at a higher rate than ever before? Because if I'm cheering for a defensive stop, be it my favorite team or a game that I've bet on, I feel like I've got like a way better chance to get them than I ever did. I mean that. We can get this. We can get this. And you're getting them.
You say 4th and 3rd down?
Like the short yardage stops seem to be happening way high. Like running the ball, 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 seems to be a lot harder than it used to be. Could be making that up, but I don't know.
All right. Well, let's get into this week because that would be a whole lot better if we forget about week 3, move on, have the old Men in Black, get the flasher on you. Maybe we can get back and go 13-3 this week. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe we'll all run the table on Monday night and then we'll have some good mo going into the week. And we'll start with the Cowboys at the Giants on Thursday Night Football. The Giants are 4.5-point dogs at home. The over-under is 44 right now. Tim, I will pose the question I posed to Jake on the Power Ranking show on Monday. If they lose this game, is Bill Belichick the new Dallas Cowboys head coach?
No, I don't think so.
Did Geoff try to answer that too when I clearly said Tim?
No,
sorry,
he just said wow.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
He was just being a fan.
Yeah.
Real to him too,
Okay, is McCarthy fired then?
50-50.
Who would he? They just Zimmer ain't taken over.
That's what I mean.
Like Mike McCarthy calls the plays. They're like some long time special teams coach or someone there that's been there forever? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if there's or if Jerry Jones can pull a little Amarillo and come down from the box and just run the show for the rest of the year.
That would be amazing content.
I don't know the answer to your question, but I do know I like Dallas in this game. I don't trust the Giants to have played 2 games well in a row. I gave them quite a bit of kudos last night as I was eating yet another pretty good MRE. And I'm just telling you, it's pretty good. I gave the Giants quite a bit of credit last night for that performance. That's a team that should have collapsed immediately when they got down 7-0 in the manner in which they did, and they didn't. And Dallas showed some life wrestling that game back to 3 points at the end. So I'm going to take Dallas. I'm not as concerned about them as I am about other 1 and 2 teams.
Jared, do you have access to a microphone back there by chance? You do? Can you describe both cooking that and dealing with the aftermath of what Tim ate?
Cooking it was there's a lot of powder. It all stuck to the bottom, and when I got back after about 30 minutes, it was like the consistency of oatmeal.
Well, see, that's probably why Tim liked it. It had the consistency of oatmeal.
Supposed to be pasta, felt like oatmeal. Didn't smell great. Didn't look great. Here we are.
Geoff,
but oatmeal's fun.
Oatmeal is fun. Hey, listen, you go to bed and you get excited to wake up and have some noodle oatmeal. Geoff, would you like us to bring some of the survival pack with us so we can cook it for you?
No, I wouldn't touch it. Like I don't even know that I would make a bet in which I could lose. Like I'd rather just pay money or something than eat that, because I don't want to not pay my debt. So I don't think I could agree to eating it.
Not going to do it, huh? I think that the world is going to like Dallas in this game. And of course, I like Dallas too. I don't see how you couldn't like Dallas. But if there's one soft spot, I mean, there's plenty of soft spots, but the noticeable soft spot on Dallas so far this season, at least through the past 2 weeks, and it was minimal in week 1 against the Browns, but that game just could have been an outlier. I mean, the Browns might be objectively terrible, and their defense might not even actually be good now that we've seen it, but you can run all over the Cowboys, and they have no running game to speak of. Now, maybe Dallas can pass all over them, maybe they blow them out, but the Giants have been all right on the ground, and Daniel Jones is mobile enough that I think that he can get going. I mean, he's not Lamar, but Lamar, every time that he wanted to run a QB draw, it was like 11 yards every single time. So maybe that Parsons gets into the backfield, but the Ravens really did a good job with a bad offensive line of just running in the opposite direction of him, and it was highly successful. And we just saw the Giants run all over the Browns. So I don't know. I kind of like New York to cover the number in a weird way.
Well, you get no support from me. I like Dallas. I think Dallas could win this game big.
I mean, I'll be with probably everybody, like you said, Pat, and you'll get to see me lose money in person on Thursday night, because I'm probably going to bet the Cowboys. What is so... I don't want to be an apologist for Dak. I don't think I've ever done that before in the years of doing the show. And he's got to be better. The team's got to be better early. Quentin Johnson, I saw someone saying, has more fantasy points than CeeDee Lamb. That's ridiculous.
The exact same amount of fantasy points as CeeDee Lamb.
That's not fair, because Quentin Johnson's actually had a pretty good start to his season.
After all you did week 1 was lip him about how he couldn't catch.
Well, Tim's been doing it. Tim's been part of, listen, he deserved a lot of the heat he got. But Tim has been part of a huge online community, that made him a whipping boy, and that's fair. I mean, he had glaring drops and big moments.
Oh, please. If anybody's a part of a huge online community here, Jeffrey, it's you.
I don't know what that's implying.
Well,
you know exactly what that's implying.
Buddy?
Jeff is no longer a member of the alt-right because he might be going on injured reserve, Tim.
Is he? Is that the word?
No. I saw he got hurt.
Yeah, everyone, we'll get there when we get there. So I just like Dallas. Dak, they're just down so much so early. And Dak's biggest flaw is being down a touchdown and feeling like he's down 3 touchdowns. Maybe because he's used to that happening, but he does not, I sense he panics early and the defense doesn't let him and the offense breathe for a moment. I'm picking the Cowboys here. But holy shit, I can't imagine what the conversation would be if you're like if they lose this game.
Yeah, it feels like a field goal game to me. Although I know that Dallas just typically runs train on these guys, especially in these primetime spots in the Dak era. And I kind of agree with you on Dak. Like it's 2 weeks in a row where you blink and they're just down by 20 points. Like eventually that's going to catch up to you. It limits what you're able to do on offense. And I still have no idea, Tim, whether they can run the ball or not. I'm going to say no.
I would be shocked if they could. They have no good running backs.
And the Giants have a really unstoppable play they can run every time, too. It's throw it in general vicinity of Malik Neighbors, and he will catch it.
Neighbors can ball. He's so good. He's like what Garrett Wilson was as a rookie on the Jets. He's going to have like 1,100 yards on a bad team.
I think he's going to
the
have more than that.
Giants. If the Cowboys O-line sucks, I mean, we saw the Giants ends are the strength, right? Like Burns and Thibodeau. And Lawrence
I believe that's pronounced Thibodeaux.
Incorrectly.
And Watson, if you watch extended amount of Browns, like, it's hard to know if he even gives a shit. Sometimes it's so awkward. I mean, you assume he does, takes those hits, he gets up, but I don't know. That whole operation just seems so lifeless. And if it's not being carried by a defense, holy shit. But the Giants got away with like stupid turnovers and horrible tackling by the Browns. And you'd like to think the Cowboys aren't susceptible to that. But if you've watched the last couple of weeks, Cowboys can't do it.
Yeah, this is going to be one of these games where you guys are all going to feel really dumb when the Dallas just can't get anything going. Or I'm going to sit here when the Cowboys are winning by 35 points after 3 quarters being like, what the hell was I thinking? This was the easiest pick on the board.
I think it's more the latter.
Oh, of course you did. You took Dallas. Let's move to Sunday. The New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints numbers are going back and forth across the place right now. So they were 2-point favorites at home against 2.5-point favorites at home against the Eagles. The Falcons were 3.5-point dogs to the Chiefs. Now the Falcons are a 1.5 favorite at home against these Saints. Geoff, what happened to the Saints?
That was a really weird game. I guess they came back to life. But that was it was hard to make of how just awkward that game was from start to finish. I have a hard time still like making my decision on the Saints. I wasn't running to think like they're gang beaters now.
Do you know a lot of gang beaters, do you?
No, I don't even know. What's the word? What do people say there? Gangbusters?
There you go.
Yeah.
To go along with the theme of the thumbnail. Maybe you can see that they're Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Most
primetime loss, so sloppy for Atlanta. Back-to-back primetime games. So we feel like we know them a lot. Give me the Falcons at home. I'm excited for these head-to-head South games, though.
These two always play excellent games. Historically, the Falcons and Saints always play very captivating and interesting games. So.
Are you still like going back to some Thanksgiving game?
That was not remote. That was not remotely close.
It was actually much closer than people remember, by the way. And actually, Atlanta had a real chance to cover that game. It's actually an excellent Thanksgiving game.
I think they lost by 28 points.
I'm just saying it was a very good and compelling game for most of it, and then it sort of went sideways at the end. I will take New Orleans.
Yeah, I think I have to go with New Orleans as well, mainly because Atlanta's offense stinks. Like you watch them, and it feels like for 2-minute periods, you're like, man, they can't be stopped moving the ball. Bijan's running downhill. Drake London is just wide open. Mooney is gashing through. Hey, there's Kyle Pitts. He's cheering everyone on. Like, that's their entire offense. And then you look up at the scoreboard. By the end of it, it's like 17, 18, 22. Maybe they'll end up dropping a 40 on someone, but I just don't know if they score enough points to. And now listen, they don't have to win by margin. It's a 1.5. They win the game, they should cover. But New Orleans defense, I mean, they continued to show up. They played really well against, albeit an undermanned Philadelphia team, but I saw no crack in their defense whatsoever. It was the offense that was really bad. So This feels like a field goal or less game to me, and New Orleans has looked better despite facing weaker competition. Because maybe it's this, Tim. Maybe Atlanta played Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, 3 of the top 10 defenses in football, and maybe their offense is a whole lot better. Although the Saints might have a top 10 defense in football too.
Yeah, that's all fair. I don't quite know why New Orleans couldn't quite generate much offense yesterday. I credit Philadelphia by and large for that, but I think the complaint that Atlanta has more trouble scoring than the Saints is correct. And so in a game which is essentially a pick 'em, and I get a road team playing indoors on the road, it's a dome team, I sort of like the Saints in this spot. I think the spread is a little short.
How serious were those Falcons O-line injuries? Like in the game, it seemed like they changed the entirety of last night's game, but are those guys going to play this week?
Saw one guy is probably not going to play, but that just kind of popped up on my Twitter feed as I was scrolling through. Fantasy doctors, they're always on top of these things. No, I don't see much of it here now. Actually, no, McGarry looks like he's going to play in week 4. So that's good news for them.
I mean, the league is just so wild these days that it's hard to make talk about the games, give the opinion, but to actually make like a real bet before an injury report in like the current state of the NFL, I don't know that it's worth whatever you think you're getting with the early numbers, because CLV don't mean shit. We learned that last year all year, and 3 weeks through this year doesn't matter. So, seeing an injury report might be the most important thing you need to do before actually putting real money on an NFL game these days.
Yeah, and we have learned that the teams with the beat-up offensive lines, at least in week 1, just blindly bet against them, and you're going to win by 1,000,000 points against the spread. So keep that in mind. If you have tons of offensive line injuries, I don't know who it's going to be this time around, but maybe it's 2 teams that have bad offensive lines anyway. One has a bad offensive line. The other one is an injured offensive line. Rams at Bears is the next game. The Bears are favored by 2.5 here. 41's the total. Tim, are you surprised the Bears are almost a field goal favorite?
No, the Bears still have a lot of their luster from the preseason because their 2 losses were close and they won a game. So people haven't quite seen some of the wretchedness that has been the Chicago offense for 3 weeks, and they haven't played a primetime game either. So I don't know if people are quite clued. Oh, they did play one primetime game, sorry, and they played terribly. I liked the Bears here on the theory that sort of the Rams gave it their very best. That's all they got to beat the Niners last week. That was a fantastic performance. I think they have to play like that well and have everything go just right for them like that to win games on a frequent basis while everybody is hurt. So this is sort of a bit of a gut check game for the Bears. If you're going to be a team that's going to compete for the playoffs, etc., you cannot lose this game at home. I expect to see Chicago show up and win this game and cover the 2.5.
I'm kind of leaning Rams a little bit, Geoff. Like, sometimes when it comes down to these under field goal spreads, what's the first thing you look at? Who has the better quarterback? I think Stafford has been one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football to begin the season.
Yeah.
He's dealing with nothing. He lost most of his weapons. He's lost most of his offensive line, but it just keeps working. And when I think about it in those terms, the Bears defense is good. The Rams defense isn't a sieve, but it's not as good as the Bears D, obviously. But the turnovers that the Bears offense give away to the other team, maybe Stafford will make those and it'll even itself out, but he hasn't been playing like a guy who's just going to hand the ball to the other team. And they've been really good at punching it in when they get inside the red zone, Geoff, that if the Bears do turn it over, give them a short field. I feel like Stafford's the kind of quarterback who will capitalize on that.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just taken that Stafford thing and just thrown in they have the quarterback. They also have the way better coach. The only thing I could consider betting the Bears for in this game is almost to your initial comment about the line. Like, it's almost like the Vegas is asking me not to bet the Bears. And I'm demented enough to when you spend some formative years from gambling, like working alongside Cam Stewart, you become demented enough to try to see things in the line.
I think we all did that with Tennessee last week against Green Bay.
No, that was to me okay, Malik, show me again. And holy shit. Whatever, 1-1. Played him in that first game. Clearly lost a ton fading them yesterday. But like that red zone play calling is so incredible. It really is. Once they get down there, I'm taking the Rams. I don't feel good about it because I feel like Vegas wants me to, but coach quarterback, desperate team. I'm not betting on that.
Yeah, it seems to me, Tim, like the Bears are just going to play an awful lot of close games. So if it's within a field goal, just take the points on either side.
I understand. Yeah, no, I understand that.
All right, so Rams for Geoff and I, Chicago for Tim and the coin. Denver at the New York Jets, Tim. -7 is the spread. Is this a look-ahead game to the Sam Darnold revenge in London next week?
I hope not.
Are you scared of that game?
I am more scared of that game than because the Vikings are playing fantastic football. I am somewhat concerned about that game. I'm not as concerned about this game. Not that I think it's going to be a look ahead. I think the Jets will take Denver seriously because there's a lot of reasons the Jets aren't big fans of the Broncos. To give Denver their credit, they had a fantastic game plan against Tampa Bay, and they executed it flawlessly. So they should get all the kudos for that. But with the extra rest and with the way the Jets looked on Thursday night, they should not have much difficulty dispatching the Broncos. So we're gonna take the Broncos here.
You're gonna take the Broncos
or the Jets here to cover this.
I was gonna say that was a real swerve there. That was a M. Night Shyamalan pick, if there ever was one. No. If you were swerving onto the Broncos, where would you rate Thursday night's game against the Patriot out of all the games in your Jets fandom that you enjoyed the most?
That's interesting. Probably right around 9th, 10th all time.
Do you have a definitive power ranking of this? Like, is there two?
I don't want to listen.
Many of them involve Geoff's team.
I'm getting out of here if we're doing this.
Which
like
game?
Start at number 5. Rank them from 5 to 10. I don't want to hear the talk.
Yeah, Nate Kading is involved heavily in these rankings.
Yeah, Sean Green. Oh fuck, Cromartie was such a bitch.
Beating Drew Brees on a Saturday night against the Chargers. That was one. It's way up there. Obviously, the Jets win against the Patriots in the divisional round was the highlight win. A similar one the year before against the Chargers, but really beating the Peyton Manning in that same playoff run. Those are 3 of the top 10 right there. That week 1 win last year against the Bills with the punt return touchdown, that's way up there. The game where the Jets kicked 7 field goals and they carried them off the field, that's way up there.
Oh my God, really?
That was a very, very satisfying win. It is. Sorry. It just is. It's etched into my mind. There was a Thanksgiving night game where we beat the Bengals pretty handily. That was a very... There are some games, but I would say last week was, close to the top 10 because that was the Rodgers we traded for. I saw a glimpse of, what my team could be if they play their cards right.
Geoff, you have that future on them to win the Super Bowl. Are you feeling as high on the Jets as Tim is?
I like the Jets. I like them all along. It's actually incredible how I lost what I lost last week when I won what I won on them Thursday because I loved them. I wasn't leaving my priors for that. But I long term, I like beating the Patriots doesn't really prove much to me either. I'm gonna lay these points. Uncomfortable, but I'm gonna lay them with Tim.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna blindly take a lot of the big dogs this week. Denver looked pretty good against Tampa. They looked really good, and Bo Nix looked reasonable as well. Do you think it's one of these things where we all kind of laughed at Sean Payton, you guys especially, because you guys both hate Sean Payton, but maybe it would take a little bit of time to get Bo Nix playing a little bit better in an NFL system that Sean Payton had put in front of him like 5 weeks ago?
I still think Tampa sucks.
Really?
And I can't really yell that because I got embarrassed doing it last year. But they beat the shit out of Washington, who might be the worst defense in football. And then they gave up over 2. Detroit out-yarded them by like 250, and they won the game. So I still think like beating Tampa doesn't say a ton, but all they've done in my lifetime has proved me wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't wipe out punting down 4 with like a minute and a half left or whatever and one timeout. That a good game plan against Tampa, as good as it was, that doesn't like wipe that mistake away.
But as for Bo Nix, like the whole shtick on him is he's so ready. Like he's got so much college experience that
He's plug and play.
But that being said, in the way all quarterbacks have looked this year, like obviously the rookies are going to look even worse, right? Like the squeeze has happened to every quarterback, even the best. So obviously the rookies and their lack of experience getting squeezed has led to some really unfortunate game logs across the league. It's nice to see him come out of it. We'll see in a month.
Tim,
I'll still do a Sean Payton rant. I'm not above that.
Tim, can I read you a passage from Out of the Darkness, the Aaron Rodgers book?
Go right ahead. I'm all ears.
It didn't matter that Green Bay would make the playoffs and score a huge first-round upset over Dallas, or that, despite Matt LaFleur's private misgivings about pairing a new starting quarterback with the league's youngest team, Jordan Love would make the Packers an undisputed winner of the Rodgers trade by showing off his franchise player potential. The Packers were in another conference and in another world. For the Jets, it was all about Aaron in 2024. And in his first appearance of 2024 on McAfee, Rodgers committed his first turnover of the year, a doozy. The January 2nd show started off innocently enough with Rodgers speaking from the wine room in his home, talking about the sleep he had caught up on and the football games he had watched, and the message he had posted on Instagram stories about meeting his happiest and saddest self in 2023. Rodgers spoke about ayahuasca and Fireman Ed and bad officiating before the conversation turned to conspiracy theory that the NFL season was in fact scripted. Do you believe that it's now scripted in favor of Aaron Rodgers?
I don't, but if it is, I won't complain.
So now you're pro-scripted.
I mean, isn't everybody in favor of it scripted as long as it goes your way?
I suppose, yes.
I think that's crazy. But again, I don't need to defend any of that. I just need him to get through to January and get me some wins. And I'll just look the other way on foolishness like that until then.
So it doesn't matter who he is. As long as he's doing what you want him to do, you're all in?
I understood when they traded for him that they were trading for somebody who was going to shoot from the hip and say off the wall things. And I just want to win so badly that I just get me some wins, Aaron. Just play like you played on Thursday. And we're going to be very, very, very difficult to beat.
Obviously, winning kind of absolves everything like around Aaron Rodgers over the past few years, Geoff. But if you were to put Rodgers and categorize him of the best quarterbacks of the past 25 years, let's say, of the millennium, where would he rank? Is it number 3? Like Brady, Manning, Rodgers? Does it go 1, 2, 3 like that?
And Rodgers,
no, Mahomes would be ahead of Mahomes would be ahead of Rodgers.
I mean, I would probably put Mahomes ahead of Manning already.
Anytime we do this, like Brady is the winningest, best football player ever
for now.
But you couldn't. Yes, for now, you're right. Like it's, I guess, a real thing. When he's already got Mahomes already has 3, but like pound for pound, the majority of seasons you would have always taken Rodgers or Manning ahead of Brady, and people might be like totally agreeing, and people might be like, "This guy's insane," but just in terms of. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Rodgers, there were so many times I thought Rodgers was the best, like truly the best. No, even the guys that won the Super Bowls couldn't do what he did.
I want to apologize to everybody named Sully who just dropped their Dunkin' Donuts coffee walking on the street in shock when Geoff said that people wouldn't pick Tom Brady ahead of Peyton Manning most seasons.
No, like who's going to win the game? Like, I need one quarterback to win this game. I'm not picking Aaron Rodgers over any of them. Tom Brady is number 1 by like definitive gaps, infinity.
I agree.
But I don't know, like it's so weird. I don't even know how to
here, let me try.
But my eyeballs can't get to my mouth.
Let me try to articulate it for you. Brady because you have the separate iterations of Brady. You have the first 3 Super Bowls. You have that super team with Randy Moss and Welker. And then you have the rest of his Patriots tenure. And then you have the Tampa Bay tenure. So much of Brady gets baked into those first 3 Super Bowls when realistically, Tim, he was a glorified game manager. He was a clutch game manager. But that player did not resemble what he became in that MVP season when he threw like the 1,000,000 touchdowns. Like he became a better player 7-8 years into his career, and you always have to mix that up, where Rodgers always seemed like peak Rodgers, if that makes sense.
They didn't even win when he was at his peak.
Who?
They won a
they
Super
won.
Bowl against the Seahawks because of a mistake on the goal line, and they beat the Rams by scoring 13 points in a Super Bowl. Like, no, I don't want to.
Winning is all that matters.
I know,
Rodgers
but
did
like,
Well, no, but that's interesting though, because I mean, Brady was excellent on Tampa Bay when they ended up winning the Super Bowl, but all of
Yes.
in most of the Patriots wins, Brady wasn't the best player in the league. The years that he was like the best quarterback in football, they didn't win.
Yeah.
Like the best year they had was the undefeated season year, and then they lost in the Super Bowl. And that was like not even arguably, that was his best year.
in 07. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you just get these different iterations of him where it felt like he was always the best, Geoff, and what made him so good at playing within the team that he had and knowing what the strengths of his team was, and even taking those smaller contracts all the years so they could build a better team around him. Has to be credited to him.
The greatest, honestly, like the greatest male of the century.
More than
Like,
Tiger
above
Woods.
quarterback play. He doesn't even count. Like ranking Brady among quarterbacks doesn't even seem worthy of Tom Brady. Like truly, the one flaw in his entire life was packing a lunch to Augusta. I just can't even.
He was also suspended for 4 games.
Okay, sure.
He also
I don't know.
He also left Bridget Moynihan for Giselle Bundchen.
Yes, yeah, he did.
And then
There was a great.
and then he had Antonio Brown live in his house. And then Antonio Brown called him cracker of the day.
There was a great like Pablo Torre long form like YouTube essay on Donald Trump's like obsession with trying to own an NFL team. It listed all of them he tried to own, like going all the way to his battle with Bon Jovi to try to get the Bills, and which ended up going to the Pagulas. But in that like long form essay, he talks about Trump wanted him so badly to marry Ivanka, like so badly. All Trump did was throw Ivanka at Brady.
Like he's a medieval king trying to unite empires
Like
by
pretty much the way it was like spoken. And then they also have like 3 or 4 different clips from like separate interviews, some of them on Howard Stern. Like, yeah, clearly Donald was trying to do.
He's
that.
also a huge fan of the team, right? So like he's just being a big fanboy of the Patriots. He loves teams that win.
He wanted the Patriots. He tried to buy the Patriots. He wanted them on the cheap. They had $100 million in debt, and he didn't buy them. They ended up going to Mr. Kraft. Things are a bit different. But I don't know. Brady, like quarterbacks, it's closer for me than people think, but Brady's just like
Maybe
the
that's the
greatest
solution
male of
to
my
our
lifetime.
maybe the solution to our political problems is have Donald Trump purchase an NFL team that can't even own its own stadium that has to rent, and move that team to somewhere where they can have their own stadium and be a glorified NFL owner.
Why am I taking shrapnel here?
Well, because yours is the only team that doesn't own a stadium
I thought it was going to
that
work.
pays dues.
When he started going on his rant that he couldn't quite articulate about Brady, I thought he was going to turn it around to how Justin Herbert is actually the best quarterback of the past 25 years.
Yeah, Kurt Warner would be in the 5th on my list of those guys. Ahead of Breeze, ahead of a lot of people.
You have him ahead of Roethlisberger?
Yeah, I definitely would. Even though they played each other in the Super Bowl and Roethlisberger won. Warner is the start of that 25-year period with the greatest show on turf, the greatest football team I've ever seen and probably will ever see. And he got to another Super Bowl with Arizona when that team, and 2 with the Rams, 1 with the Cardinals. He at his best was as good as anybody.
Yeah.
In closing, Brady's Rodgers isn't. You can't have him higher than 4. Like you just.
I agree.
Even if he
I
loved the
agree.
things he did.
If we're including Mahomes into this, I was thinking of guys that have like towards the end of their career and have played a full career. But yeah, if you throw Mahomes into it, like I would take Mahomes over Brady, to tell you the truth. Like if you had me to if you gave me both those guys when they were 21 again and I had to pick one to have on my franchise, I'd rather have Mahomes.
Maybe, but then if you could have Manning at 21, you'd probably take Manning.
I
over
wouldn't.
Brady,
I don't think so.
So like that's not a really fair example to set.
I don't know if I would. Like knowing what I know, Manning's kind of a choke artist. He should have won way more Super Bowls.
Yeah, you still won 2. That's a lot of Super Bowls.
He lost too many games to the Chargers. He was the only guy the Chargers could beat. Weirdly enough, they couldn't beat the Jets, the Patriots, the Steelers. Beat the Colts. Never had a problem doing that.
Well, Darren Sproles gave the Colts fits all those years.
Yeah, Billy Volek. Right? Even the game Philip tore his ACL in. But always had their number. Michael Turner turning that corner.
Minnesota at Green Bay. -2.5. The Packers are favored at home in this. 43.5 is the over-under. It's a Sam Darnold look-ahead game to his revenge against the Jets in jolly old London in Week 5. We don't know if Jordan Love is going to start this game. And I can see all the reasoning to rush him back. It's a division game. You don't want the Vikings to get out 4-0 into the division. But I think for the longevity of the Packers in this season, Tim, if they're a real team that wants to compete for the Super Bowl, you have to make sure you can't rush Jordan Love back and have him re-injure himself, because then you're absolutely screwed. It's a Week 4 game. Yes, I get it's important. It's not going to be as important as the next time you play the Vikings down the road with potentially a fully healthy Jordan Love. And I don't think that they expected to go 2-0 with Malik Willis. They've kind of bought themselves more time to get Love healthy here.
I agree with everything you said. This is not Week 16. This is not a do or die game. You only play him if he's 100%. If he's not 100%, you just play Malik Willis, who's been playing good football. They seem to have a good game plan for him. I will take the Vikings because I don't think Love is going to play, and therefore I think the spread is going to switch around, and the Vikings are going to be favored by kickoff. And just on that, I'm going to take Minnesota.
Do you know where I had Minnesota in my power rankings, which you can watch on Mayo Media Network and the Pat Mayo Experience audio feed every Monday, Geoff? Do you know where I had them?
I usually watch them. I haven't watched them yet, but we're doing this early, so I'm caught off guard.
Well, I asked, where do you think I have them?
8.
4.
Ooh.
Well, they beat one of the teams that I had pretty highly ranked, and I ended up moving them down. But the way that their defense is played this year, it's the number 1 defense right now. And Flores has been running about as optimal as possible, being aggressive, generating turnovers. And maybe that if Willis plays, even if Love ends up playing and he's not 100%, that's probably even worse news. Weirdly enough, Willis might be a better matchup, like 100% Willis than like a 70% Love here, because Love is going to play a conventional style of quarterback like he normally does, and that's what Flores is going to feast on. But the offensive strategy for the Packers with Willis has been get everything out quickly and run the ball. 2 things that absolutely eat up teams who do nothing but blitz, which is what Minnesota does. So weirdly, in a stylistic matchup, having Willis here, Love is clearly better than Willis. That's not what I'm saying. But a diminished Love and a healthy Willis, with the way that they've been running this offense, could actually work to their favor here.
Malik Willis better than Jordan Love. Just writing it down in my book.
Hey, put it down in the book. I'm sure Cam will agree with me.
I'll tweet this out to Cam.
I'm going to take the Packers here. And I think Love is going to play. And Pat, you made a case where that could be detrimental.
Only if he's not healthy. Listen, if he's 100% healthy, then I love the Packers too. I just can't envision a scenario where he's going to be at 100% full health coming off a sprained knee 2 weeks ago.
And credit to the Green Bay Packers and the grown-ups in the room who didn't let their injured quarterback play in Week 3. It's good when there's grown-ups. You think like, just because the guy goes in a cold tub in khakis doesn't make him a grown-up. I'm really upset about that.
Took 3 weeks to take broadsides at Mr. Harbaugh.
No, I'm really upset because in my head, I do not talk. You guys might think like this house is like a walking Chargers football thing. I do not talk about the Chargers or with my kids or whatever. But driving my daughter yesterday morning somewhere, she asked me about the Chargers game. And it was so hard. Like, I was like, love this girl. And then I just laid it out. Well, quarterback, he might play. We didn't know if he's going to play yet. And she, like, out of her own cost benefit analysis, said, Daddy, he shouldn't play because there's lots of games left. And if an 8-year-old who doesn't know anything about ball can see it, then it's just got to be seen. It's got to be seen.
I think you're putting way too much of the blame on Harbaugh for that, and none of the blame on Herbert, who you know was like,
oh yeah,
I'm
no,
playing.
all of it. No. Grown-ups though. Grown-ups. Herbert will never take himself out unless he cannot function. He has proven that like many times. Herbert has gone back into games where then he is hurt. A couple years ago, week 2 against Kansas City, like he does not. And when asked after the game yesterday about his job at the quarterback and weighing the risk, he goes, my job is to be out there if I can under like any means necessary. So he's a tough son of a bitch. And there just has to be adults in the room. Like he hasn't earned the equity despite his paycheck to make those decisions. That's all. Like those decisions of whether he's going to play in week 3 have to come from somewhere else. That's all. That's all. So credit to the Packers. Because yeah, you know, it's grown-ups. It's a long season.
Okay. So looking at pressure rate right now, Green Bay is second to last in the league in adjusted sack percentage. They are not getting to the quarterback, which you've experienced enough Sam Darnold in your life, Tim, that if you're not going to throw hands in his face all the time and
he has a clean pocket, he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Clean pocket, he's going to carve you up.
And that's
all the more reason I like Minnesota quite a bit in this game. They have to be the right side.
Yeah, I don't know if they have to be, but I'm going to go with you on Minnesota plus 2.5 in this game. And yeah, we'll see how it ends up going. Maybe they'll lose by 2, and then we can all win. Fun to fun.
Yes.
Pittsburgh and Indy.
Speaking of fun.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a fucking thrilling game to watch. Indy is a 1.5 dog at home. This was shortlist for Superlock for me. Like, I felt dumb not doing it last week with the Steelers, the first week I was off the Steelers, but Steelers less than a field goal, give me the Steelers.
Steelers are on my money line parlay, free money this week.
Oh,
we're getting off the teasers a little bit. We're going to go to a money line parlay this week.
Got to mix it up a little bit. This worked for you.
This
is how you got off the schneid last year.
And it's a conservative one. It's a 3-team money line parlay. So it's a plus 300 bet. And the Steelers are the first part of it. As long as Justin Fields doesn't destroy me, and as long as Justin Fields doesn't throw the game away, Anthony Richardson facing this Pittsburgh defense is a recipe for disaster.
I just envision that there's like 8 turnovers in this game, and it's going to be the Fields, Anthony Richards, Spider-Man gif, Geoff, of just them pointing at each other.
No, I think the Steelers do a pretty good job not letting Fields have to do that. Have the Colts been putting pressure on quarterbacks?
Let me effort.
I mean, Caleb was under pursuit yesterday. He was certainly running around a lot.
But their offensive line sucks. Like, if you just rush anyone up the middle against him, either off the center or off the guard, like, it pushes Caleb Williams out of the pocket immediately because there's a guy in his face.
Yeah.
Are the Colts going to score 2 60-plus yard touchdowns?
I would hazard to say no.
They have, they do have, they're weirdly, because, I mean, when you watch them, like, they had 3 or 4 huge plays against Chicago. And Chicago has a good defense because Richardson's arm, legs, and Jonathan Taylor's legs are an interesting dynamic against anything that Pittsburgh has faced so far this season. But I just think that their defense is too good. When you said about you look at the line and it feels like they're getting you, this feels like that line to me. That normally I would blindly take Indy in this spot because, of course, Pittsburgh's going to win this game and cover the 1.5. And then all of a sudden, New Orleans will win by 2 or something. Or Indianapolis will win by 2. But I just don't see it.
I'm on Pittsburgh.
Is there
if there aren't players injured on Indy right now, they will be by the middle of the second quarter.
Indy has let's see here. Is this offense or defense? Defense. They have the 3rd lowest pressure rate.
Fields, with time, he's fine.
Let's see what's their adjusted sack percentage here. See if we can get them up the charts a little bit here. Indy. Well, they're better at that than anything. Teams love running against them, though, is the thing. They're 23rd in adjusted sack rate, but only at 4.1% through 3 games. So they are not getting into the backfield at all. And if there's one thing the Steelers really do want to do, it's run the ball. They're not great at it, but you can run on Indy if you really commit to it. And it's a testament to watching them against the Chargers. They committed to the run, although they couldn't run the ball.
It's Pittsburgh. I felt the wrath, like Pittsburgh.
They really put you into see, Tim's livening up as the show goes along. You're getting worse and worse.
No, I'm cool. I kept it in check. I wasn't like these blowhards like Tim thinking we were anything but what we were going to be. But that's just like, it was, we're talking ball. Chargers got their ass whipped. I got irresponsible. So it was just a bad day. And the Chargers had nothing to do with me getting irresponsible.
Next game, Philly and Tampa. The Bucks are 2.5-point dogs at home. 45 is the over-under. This is going to be my super lock. I've already bet this game. I love the Buccaneers in this spot against the Eagles getting points. They beat them in the playoffs last year. A.J. Brown is unlikely to play. Devonta Smith isn't going to play. Lane Johnson is unlikely to play in this game. This is about as diminished as you're ever going to find the Eagles, and yet they're still favorites on the road against a team that beat them pretty handily last time in a big spot too.
I don't like them as much as you do, but I do like Tampa in the game for many of the reasons you were saying, because of all the injuries that have compiled on Philadelphia. I don't take a whole lot of stock from last year's playoff game. And I don't think Baker Mayfield has looked that great this year, but all things being considered, Philadelphia is very diminished, and I still don't think that team is right. They're the Bobby Hill of this year. That team ain't right. There's something going on with that team, and I can't figure it out, but something's off.
Well,
something's off on that team.
Well, I mean, I still have my Philadelphia Kansas City futures in the Super Bowl, but I actually look, they're 2-1. They could be 0-3. They could be 3-0, I suppose, too. They were one catch away. We debated that last week. If they can just kind of survive until week 8 or week 9 and get these guys back healthy, I think they'll be fine. But I've really been on team without A.J. Brown. Their offense sucks, or it's incredibly one-dimensional, Geoff.
I'm with you. I also just hope over the long run they'll figure it out. The players running the asylum, though, doesn't bode well for us, but you can still see their path to the 1 seed. So that's how like wide it is. And the Cowboys might suck and they got the division. I'm scared shitless to put a cent on them. Like, it's Tampa or nothing. Tampa or nothing. And I think Tampa's, I've already made that clear. But that's just a laundry list that I don't want to fuck with.
I like how we had the argument last week, and I tried to come out on side of Team Pass, Team Sirianni, which I still would have done. That's what I would do. And then he goes and has this debacle against New Orleans the very next week, where it's just like, oh my God, man, what are you doing? It's not working.
Yeah. Yeah, now who looks like a dum-dum?
Probably it's more Nick Sirianni than me.
I agree. I mostly blame him.
But even, I mean, maybe it's because Lane Johnson was out when they did the fake tush push. Because, you were just staying in the room, we were watching it. It's like, oh, maybe they can't do the tush push anymore. But they ran it like to a T against Atlanta, no problem.
No, they don't seem to have the confidence in it they used to.
I guess not. It doesn't seem like, maybe that's a good word for that team offensively right now. And I get it. Listen, even their other random little white dude, Covey, is going to be out 6 weeks now. Like, they have legit no one to catch passes outside of
Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson's
they
on the
for
team.
Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, that's great.
They
Was he
better
have
use
one catch in 3 games, and he's out there running. He's getting his cardio in.
Who is it? Wilson, Johnny Wilson.
Yeah, Johnny Wilson, the rookie. Like that's great and everything. Zacchaeus is on the team, I think. No, he's on Washington. Never mind about that. Is Julio Jones available? They had him last year. Go get him. He'd be your best receiver by far.
There's no one available,
I suppose. So round to Pittsburgh, round to Tampa Bay. That's where we're going to get got this week, unless it's our week to truly rebound. Cincinnati and Carolina. Now, we have not seen the Bengals play as of yet. I am worried that Washington beats them outright on Monday night because big underdog just outright win and kill people in Survivor. That's what's been going on. But Tim, you had the big line about this after we watched the Panthers on Sunday that they feel like the ultimate go-against team this week.
Yeah, I think people are going to overreact from the performance the Panthers played. Dalton got in. That it was a competent team. They really showed what they have, et cetera, et cetera. That's nice. They played one really good game against the Raiders, who aren't that good. I want nothing to do with them. That go ahead. This 5.5 is way too short. Give me Cincinnati.
I'm on Team Tim with this one, Geoff, and it's going to look foolish when Cincinnati loses and it's like a 2.5 point spread on Tuesday by the time people watch this show. But even at the 5.5, I still like Cincy.
We're bad enough as it is on Tuesday. So I can't complain that doing it earlier can hurt, but it's just hard. It's just hard. My mind is a mess. My eyeballs are still so fresh. I'm curious to see. I have to take like a modicum of responsibility for it.
A smodicum?
A modicum?
Yeah.
It's like something where it's a justice position towards a modicum.
I like a smodicum. Give me a smodicum, kind sir. No, you had that right, Geoff.
Smarch weather is so annoying.
Like I wasn't, like a hard on like Pizzola or making bets against other teams like Cam, but I was one of those people that thought Carolina just like below mid, but like in that not drafting top 5. I think that was almost my official statement on them. And it's nice to see the baseline of the team potentially without Bryce, because it did seem like they made some decent moves in the offseason to not be like dog shit. I am still not going to bet them. So it's, I guess, a hat trick. The only thing thinking that I should bet them is it'd be 3 games in a row with all of us on the same side. But let's just die together.
We'll live together, die together with the Cincinnati Bengals in this spot. How big is this event? I know it's one game, and maybe Dalton looks ass against his old team in a revenge spot. Although there was no bigger revenge game of all time, as it turns out, than that Houston-Minnesota game, Tim.
Everybody on every side had played for the other team. It was remarkable.
Even guys you wouldn't even think of just popping up. It's like, oh yeah, 3 sacks. It's like, oh yeah.
The fellow who had 3. Yeah, exactly. The fellow who had 3 sacks. He was a former Texan. Really?
Just here we go. So the ultimate revenge game. But I don't know. How does Bryce Young come back from this in Carolina?
Dalton gets hurt.
I was going to say that's about the only way. Dalton's going to have to be carried off the field.
But it's like, how could it
trade? You should trade him. They should just trade him. Get whatever they can and trade him before the trading deadline. Take the best deal available and trade him.
If you were Miami, would you give up a 3rd round pick for Bryce Young right now, Geoff?
Boy, that's tough, Pat. No.
I mean, if I was Miami,
I would rather give up on your season.
I would give up the 3rd round pick for Bryce Young. I think
a 3rd round pick might be able to get you a better quarterback.
Well, who's the better?
That's my only thing saying no.
I said Mac Jones would be perfect for Miami of available quarterbacks that you could trade for, because I think that he fits in with this faux Shanahan system well. He's accurate enough. He can run the playbook. He'll kick people in the nuts, as Cam always points out. But if you don't think, you have all this money invested into it, but Lord knows when he's going to play, that maybe you just try to roll the dice on Bryce Young. I just don't think a 3rd round pick gets you Bryce Young.
You think Bryce Young is better than Josh Downs?
Yes.
Well, Josh Downs is a receiver. So yes.
Dobbs?
Is Dobbs on a team right now?
Probably. Yeah, he is.
Are you sure? I think he's just a free agent.
Geoff, have you been smoking your nicotine pen today?
No, what did I? Sorry, Downs Dobbs.
What did I say? I don't know. Downs, Dobbs.
He's got a name starts with a D. I think there might be a spoticum of the dope in his pen today. I don't know.
Yeah, there may be.
Someone may have spiked that, Geoff.
I actually don't even have it nearby. I hope to find it before we go to Montreal. Hope to get a refill cartridge before we go to Montreal. I got, I'll just put it in my fanny pack, which I got to find for Montreal.
Do you have
but
do you have a
know.
fanny pack or a money belt like Tim has?
No, I think it's a fanny pack.
Fanny packs are worn outside of your clothing. Money belts are worn inside.
Oh, okay. The more you know. Josh Dobbs is the third string quarterback in San Francisco right now.
So just random, like, do you think he is better? Do you think Bryce is better than him?
I actually don't know if Bryce Young is better than Josh Dobbs, but
That's kind of my point.
But I think that there's the potential for him to be better in the right system. He was the number 1 overall pick. Maybe he's a complete write-off. Dobbs is no better than the guys they already have on the team. Like, you're not doing anything with Josh Dobbs.
Like, that is fair. You get Bryce. You think if you graded Bryce really highly at the draft and you can get him for a third and you think maybe he could be our quarterback of the future, maybe, but I don't know. For a third round pick, I'm pretty sure, like, that's a day 2 pick. If you floated the league, you'd be willing to give that up for a QB. I think you can get someone better than Bryce. Not with the ceiling, like the long-term ceiling of Bryce, but for the season, you can get someone better, I would think.
I just don't know who it is. Like, Josh Dobbs isn't the guy. So who would it be? I said Mac Jones is the most obvious choice to me. He's just sitting in
I actually
doing
think
nothing.
I actually think they picked up the best quarterback they could have in Hundley.
They may have done that because they could have done the same thing to San Francisco to get Josh Dobbs, presumably, if he was on the practice squad. But, I mean, Tyler Huntley is behind Josh Johnson on the Ravens depth chart.
They have a really deep quarterback situation in Baltimore, from like a backup standpoint.
Why not just trade for Russell Wilson?
That's interesting.
You don't have to pay much to get him. Steelers don't really have anything invested in him.
He showed last year that he forbids to get rid of the ball quickly. That's why Sean Payton fucking hated him.
But you only need him for like 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So like, I'd probably pay him for 6 weeks. And then if he gets on my nerves, you can cut him afterwards.
Maybe you just don't want him talking to other people on your team. He might infect them with his craziness.
But yeah, I just need him to like get me over for 6 or 7 weeks. So I think he would be worthwhile.
I guess they don't actually do any of these things because they just think that Tua is going to be back in 4 weeks.
4 weeks is a long time. You're 1-2. If he's back in 4 weeks and you're 1-6, your season's over.
Oh, if they really cared about it that much, wouldn't they have signed Tannehill by now?
You can't bring him back.
Why not?
You can't bring him back.
Listen,
He's no better than Huntley.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Huntley made a Pro Bowl more recently than Tannehill did.
I mean, Tannehill's looked better in the league more recently than Huntley. And Huntley only made that Pro Bowls because everyone didn't want to go to the Pro Bowl that year.
Whatever.
I think Tannehill was on that Pro Bowl team as well that he declined to go to.
On 2020, I don't think so. It's the year before they were good, I thought.
Ah, okay. Jacksonville and Houston. We have not seen Jacksonville as of yet. But despite you stealing Rob's claim of the Houston Texans having the best roster in football, Geoff, they have not been good at all this season.
That was quite the claim that was made on the spread pick show or the best bet show.
And guess what? It wasn't even Rob's claim.
Who's that?
Rob went back and looked at that group chat. He didn't even say that.
You guys are just all sheep. You know that? Just parroting each other. One person makes a point. I can't think for myself. Here's the point I'm just going to say.
I like
Look
Houston.
At you guys.
Houston is like the in vogue team, much like it was once the Bengals or the Bills, to like who's going to beat the Chiefs. I don't think that is a far-fetched situation to like their quarterback, their offensive line, their receiver play, and their pass rush. Their coach is a fucking idiot and doesn't like to throw on early downs. That's their problem. I can't totally speak to yesterday because I didn't see a ton of that one, but that holistically, in my opinion, is the biggest issue in Houston. And Nico Collins, he's underrated. He's so good, but he's like a tier better than most people even give him credit for. So I'm very bullish on Houston.
Okay. So do you like Houston in this game? -4.5?
Yes.
Okay.
Jags off a big performance on Monday.
Well, they'll play on Monday. The performance, we do not know. They might just decide to forfeit the game to rest for this game. You don't know that.
You're right. I'm projecting, and that I could have said nothing because that'll look really stupid when Josh Allen trains them.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one with the Bills. So that's probably bad news for the Bills since I have 3 wins so far in week number 3. What do you make of it, Tim? It just, are they covering spreads of more than 3 points?
Seems like a lot. And I mean, somebody was telling me that the coach runs way too often on early downs. And that makes me want to pick sort of against the Texans in this spot. I'm going to take the Jaguars, actually. I think the spread is too big for an in-division game between, I think Jacksonville plays all right tonight. And I think Houston will have a little bit of a bounce back. And I think this is a great Fienberg game.
The amount of content that I probably take in a week in football season, like, it's just absurd. And then for Pizzola to call me out like that, what the? I litigated it with him on a watch along, so that's old. That's old news. That's old news now. But yeah, good times. Love that show. Hopefully, I saw the comments where people took your advice and were putting air in Cam's tires in the comments there, Pat. Good work.
Well, we have to read him the comments next week because he, of course, did not go into the comments. Cam knows better than go into the comments. Unlike Geoff. Jeff's all over the comments.
I don't care. Whatever. Cam actually on your network, it's very clear the comments are a safe space. I think in like other places, the comments are not kind. And I'll be honest, I in a past life is like it's no secret I worked with Cam. But there's a period where my responsibility was being a moderator for like, this is old school. Like you would text to chat and it would come in on the scroll. And between between things people would say about Cam were like insane that like clearly you can't let anything get through. And then there was Sarah Meehan, a nice looking female. And the comments were disgusting. And that's probably when I realized like guys like feet, because that's never a thing for me. But that, and one time I got yelled at because I was putting in too many things bashing Canadian hockey, and Steve Coolius yelled at me.
What?
Yeah, he didn't like, there was too much like anti-Canada hockey text coming through on the text scroll. He did not. He yelled at me for it. True story. Ghoulie hockey talk. Yeah.
Like what were you saying or what was being said?
I don't even remember. I don't remember. Maybe something like I shouldn't have let something through that was like insulting to a player, but it was really just like, unless you were.
What a waste of money that David Clarkson contract was.
No, it wasn't. I mean, that was more of a Leafs thing. It was like Team Canada. It was like probably during a tournament. I don't know.
People were being critical of the Canadian World Junior team.
And probably that's may have been what it was. But really, as long as I didn't let like any like tweets about the female through, that was like a good day.
So you were essentially Butters in that episode of South Park where you had to be the curator of Gartman's online presence to get rid of all the negativity.
Oh, you have like, you can only imagine what like the lowest common denominator sending shit in that.
Well, did
you find at the end of it, like, did you have to like watch like videos with puppies or something to like cheer yourself up before you left for the day, because the darkness that you had to consume for 3 or 4 hours were such that you couldn't leave on that note? You had to watch like
did he have to
with string?
Did Geoff have to come out of the darkness like Aaron Rodgers?
But then also I felt like I needed to put more through, because I think like this is when you actually had to pay to send something too.
Like pay to text? Like voting on American Idol in 2007?
See someone out there pushing the 9 3 times to get a Y, and then pushing the 2 3 times to get an
Oh
A.
man, T3 Texton was where it's at. Tim, are you checking a bag on this trip? I'm checking us in right now.
No, I am not checking it back.
Paul,
I thought I had to do it. You can do it for me?
Yeah, I'm doing it for you right now.
So how do I get my boarding pass?
It'll be sent both to your phone number and your email.
So it'll be emailed to me? Okay, so you checked me on. That's great.
Well, I'm not done it yet. I had to ask you the
I was
question.
becoming stressed thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to check in this evening. I don't know. I haven't done that in years. I don't know how to do it. I was getting nervous.
I'm gonna do the like. Oh, this is really unbecoming of the show and myself. But like, what are you wearing?
Just dress normal. People keep asking me this. Like, Tim's gonna dress like he's Payne Stewart, so he's gonna fit right in at the President's Cup. I don't just wear like a pair of jeans, a pair of slacks, wear shorts, whatever. Like, don't dress like Rob does on like the thumbnails that we put up, where he's dressed like No FX or something like that. Just wear a normal shirt for a normal person, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But it's this, this cross of like rain or short sleeves.
Well,
but
I can't prepare you for the weather, Geoff. Come
You
prepared.
don't bring more than Charger sidelines gear.
Yeah, don't dress like Jim Harbaugh. You'll be fine. Actually, you know what?
you know,
Dress like Jim Harbaugh. You'll fit right in at a golf event.
No, despite what you think, I actually have a full wardrobe that doesn't have to include the Chargers.
I need it to be warm because I bought some too tight tees that I can do some push-ups in before I walk in and meet everyone. Look super vascular and have it rocking. But I get really cold really quickly. So, that might not work for me. So I need to rethink my whole strategy now.
I mean, I actually am embarrassed I even asked the question because truth is I'm driving, and if I think I need it, I'm just tossing it in the car. So
you got
I'll
extra
no
room.
shortage
Paul,
of
are
it.
you checking a bag? No, right? Just me?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm checking a bag for the gear, but that's about it. All right. Update.
What game were we on?
I haven't checked a bag on an airline, Tim, in over 15 years.
I believe it.
Okay, that's crazy because you go on some beautiful but extended trips that my shoes are clod hoppers.
What?
Like size 11 and a half shoe. They're freaking huge.
Yeah, I do not have that size of feet. My girth was distributed elsewhere.
I'm a big guy, like one hoodie. Like I can't. You go away for so long, you can get that much in there. Good for you.
I have a little valise that'll carry my clothes for the week.
I believe there's the washer and dryer where we're at as well.
A what, Tim?
Like a little carry-on valise,
I've never heard that word before.
Oh, like a small little suitcase.
You mean like a carry-on suitcase?
Well, I suppose if you want to be vulgar about it.
And Tim, don't worry, I've got you a sheet of Diet Coke.
Thank God. That is a one of 500 concerns checked off.
Did you really think you weren't going to be able to access Diet Coke downtown in a city with over 1 million people?
I don't know.
You're checked in, by the way. If you check your email and or app and or text chain, you should have it. Because it all just popped up on my screen right now.
Okay.
See, there's listen, I'm helping you out here. I'm taking some of the stress off of you. The one thing we won't do for him, Geoff, though, because he has to print out the pass in order to get his lanyard.
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Event.
So you're going to have to do that for me.
He keeps begging people to print something out for him because it turns out Tim doesn't know how to use a printer.
No idea how to use a printer.
Even at work?
Well, it's all been set up, so I just have to push one button.
That's how everyone sets up the printer.
I have the email, but if I need something printed out, Pat's going to have to print it out for me.
I'm not bringing a printer with me. Paul, yes.
So we have to print that out here and bring it with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
What out?
I need to print it then.
I mean, you could probably just put it on your phone and just show them. And I think
I would prefer to do that.
Yeah.
You're talking about your boarding pass?
No, the pass to get our lanyard at the President's Cup.
Okay, if you want me to print it, they'll definitely accept your phone version.
There you go, Tim. There's another check mark for you. You're becoming more stress-free by the moment.
Yeah, well, we're getting there, I guess.
Well, there we go. Maybe we'll get stuck on a tarmac again, like we did when we came home from Bonnaroo for 5 hours. And
That doesn't actually bother me as much.
Oh my God, you're worried about where you're gonna see. That's like I would have almost didn't take the train, which I love to do because I've just seen so many delays. Like being stuck is what worries me, not where am I getting Diet Coke.
I mean, that's one of 1,000 concerns, but anyway.
Well, that brings us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
Yet again, I'm going to have a complaint about something I may have mentioned in the past, which is that it's so inconvenient for people like me who want to make one sandwich not to be able to go to the grocery store and buy 2 slices of bread or buy 1 leaf of lettuce or like
One
2
leaf.
slices
What
of
would
tomato.
1 leaf of lettuce cost?
Like, I don't, you know what? I don't know. But here's the thing. I had to buy like a thing of lettuce because I wanted to make a sandwich the other day. That lettuce is going to go to waste. There's no way I can eat all that lettuce. I had to buy a whole loaf of bread because I just wanted 2 slices. I had to buy a whole tomato when there's no way I needed that much. Like it really is an inconvenience to a lot of us. And it's one of the reasons I don't make like small healthy lunches a lot for myself is because it is super inconvenient and wasteful for me to have to buy the stuff in bulk. I don't want to.
But you do it anyway. So why aren't you making the small meals? Because you could reuse the stuff over and over.
Yeah, but I
at
don't
that
like
point.
to eat. I don't want to eat the same sandwich 2 days in a row. I already had it.
So you're just eating
I
no more
sympathize
sandwiches.
for you.
It
I mean,
goes
like, I
bad too
could
quickly.
I could see how it can get wasteful if you're just like buying like a loaf of bread for one person before it goes
put it in the
bad.
freezer.
Yeah, put it
in the freezer and then
freezer.
toast it, and then toast your bread.
You do it with
Like-
cakes that no one wants. Why
What
would
is
you
that?
do it with bread that someone would want?
My freezer space is very full. With
You got
other
the cake
things.
in there.
Exactly. And other things.
You have sheet cake in there from 6 months ago.
And deep and I have multiple cakes in my freezer right now. I have that and I have deep and delicious in my freezer right now. I don't have space for all this stuff, okay?
Why don't you? I mean, even at the grocery store, it's probably not the best. We are next to a French bakery in the place that we're staying at. You can go and buy smaller loaves of bread from places like that, and then you can just cut the slices off yourself.
I'm not good at cutting slices of bread. I never
even
do
the
it evenly.
Well,
I
I'm
like to do
sorry,
it
man.
perfectly
The
even.
whole world is set up for convenience, and you've made everything inconvenient for yourself.
Well,
Like
things
Tim,
are inconvenient.
The grocery store will have a bakery section. You can get like just a nice single Kaiser or something. Lovely sandwich bread.
I mean, I guess.
You
But
could
I
buy.
don't want that. I want a piece of regular
I can't
white
solve your single.
You want a piece of
leaf
regular
lettuce.
white bread rather than having like
Yeah.
a nice piece of bread?
bread. Yeah, I want some
You
Wonder
know
Bread is what I
you
want.
know, and you could always just steal that single leaf of lettuce from a rabbit.
I would never. Yeah, a rabbit. Yeah, that. I want one solid green leaf lettuce leaf. That's what I want for my sandwich. Okay, that's what I want. And instead, I have to buy all kinds of green leaf lettuce, and it's just going to go to waste because I can't eat that much lettuce.
Everyone's asking the same question. If you just want a sandwich, don't you go to Subway?
Sometimes I want to make my own sandwiches
Why? It sounds like it's a lot of pressure to make your own sandwich when you love
because
Subway.
I get into moods where I want to cook something or I want to make something for myself.
You had like your 5-point plan to make Subway great again.
I look. There's a Subway. There's a lot needs to make some changes
Yeah,
because
hit us with it.
heading in the
Hit
wrong
us with the 5-point plan.
The number one is it has to reduce its costs. It just has to. It's now way too expensive.
No, it has to reduce its menu.
That's part 2. Once you reduce costs significantly, and you have to reduce the menu significantly. Go back to like the 6 or 7 staples. That's it. That's all people really want anyway.
I agree.
Bring
with
back the
I-
old wall. Yeah, go ahead. Bring back the old wallpaper.
I agree with you on the too many options at Subway, and I've ordered the same thing at Subway. Not that I go there often, but if I'm in a pinch, there's one close to the office. I'll be like, "Hey, this is a low-cal meal that I can go get."
I've seen you
ordered
eat
this.
it twice in the last 2 weeks.
And no
I've
one
not
is
eaten it twice in the last 2 weeks.
Yes,
I ate
I
it.
saw you eat it the night of the draft, and then I saw you eat it the other day at the house. So I've seen you eat it twice in the last 3 weeks. Then
No, you saw me eat it not before the draft. The last time we were in studio together earlier on before the trip, the golf trip. because I didn't have it the
I
night of the
think it
draft.
was
I had
earlier
it
than
the
that, but
night
okay.
I came back last
You're-
weekend from Toronto.
That's yes, yeah, that was the second time. That's immaterial. The point is, it costs too much. Then we're used to the $5 footlongs. It doesn't have to be $5, but you can have $7 footlongs, and you can also so you have cheaper prices, fewer things on the menu. Bring back the old booths. Bring back the old wallpaper. Bring back Subway Club.
Okay, Subway Club, yes, you can get your Subway Club card, but you don't want to listen. I enjoy the Subway, New York Subway wallpaper as much as the next person in the old booths. But now, if you're trying to cut costs, that's just adding cost to every single store.
I just think people will want to come back if they see a Subway that looks like what they remember, rather than a Subway that looks white and stark and just it doesn't work.
Why don't you?
This might mean nothing to you, but no one is going to Subway when for like $1 more or the same price you can get Jersey Mike's or any of the like good sandwich shops all over America.
I don't know. There's a nostalgia factor that people will go to Subway if the price is right.
But,
where's
that's
bringing-
exactly what Geoff is saying. That the price has to be right for it.
That was why it was my number one. That was my number one fix.
But it needs to be significantly cheaper than the other better sub places. Or why wouldn't you just go to those?
On that note, Cam was 100% always hated Jared before the revelations. Like he maybe just hated the look or that this guy was becoming a celebrity, but Cam detested Jared before the revelations. So he looked for credit for that last week, and I can vouch for it.
Okay, there's your Fogel update of the week. That's 2 weeks in a row on the Pat Mayo Experience.
Well, I'm sure Tim might have him bring him back as part of his 5-point plan.
No. I gave you the 5-point plan. It's
So-
a flawless plan.
But my point was, despite infrequently going to Subway, I always get the same thing, and it's never like I.
Of course, almost everybody does.
That's part of the, I guess, the Subway charm is that I know what I'm getting when I go there, and I know that it's quick. I know that they have it. They should also not toast any subs. That's ridiculous. Subway is the non-toasted place.
I like that there's an option, although I almost never go for the toasting. That's fine if people want to toast it.
You know what? I go in, and the default is, Tim, to toast my sub, and that offends me because I don't like it toasted.
Well, I agree with you that it shouldn't be the default. The default should be having just the regular sandwich. Of course, there is a 6th point to my 5-point plan, which I haven't mentioned.
Oh.
But I actually think would actually be a huge factor.
Is it a mascot like Grimace? But it's you?
No, it's actually... So back in the day, they used to cut a wedge out of the top of the sandwich.
Oh my God.
And cut it that way. Going back to cutting the sandwich, what I would call the old way, would actually have a very positive effect because a lot of people who are eating on the go find that Subway subs, the stuff falls out of them in the car when you're eating. And the old way, it didn't fall out as much.
You have a big problem with spilling everything you eat on yourself, it sounds like.
Not just on myself, but on my table that Paul gave me or whatever. Just I don't like it.
Hold on. Have you ever actually used the table that Paul gave you?
I
Honestly.
use it I use it an embarrassingly large amount.
But you didn't use it for the big arch, the thing that was the most spilly of anything.
That was really stupid of me. But if I'm not exaggerating when I say I use it between 3 and 6 times a week.
It's a lot of eating in your car, man.
It's way too much.
Maybe you should use some of that extra bread from home and make yourself a turkey sandwich or something.
Well, but then I have to eat the same sandwich over and over.
You don't have to eat the same sandwich over and over. You can make a club sandwich one day. You can make a turkey sandwich, a ham sandwich. There's lots of different sandwiches you can make.
I just want the one sandwich.
So you only like one sandwich. What is the sandwich?
No, I like lots of sandwiches, but I only want the one sandwich that one time, and then I've gotten the sandwich out of my system, and I don't want a sandwich again for a while.
All right, so you need this new idea for an app where you share. It's like a ride share, but it's a grocery share with other single guy, like people who are looking for ones.
I don't want someone else's bread. They would have
well, what do you want then? You want them to go out of business. Okay, so what if they charge you the exact same amount for one slice as they did for the entire loaf? Because that's what they would have to do.
I would probably buy the one slice.
Okay. Well, there's an idea for grocery chains.
Wasteful. You know, if it's like 65 cents for 2 slices or $3 for a loaf, I'll spend the 65 cents and buy the 2 slices.
Why don't you like? I guess because you said you like white bread. I guess I've answered that question. But like, why wouldn't you try like a white bread bagel or something like that? Because you don't have to buy as many of them and just make your sandwich out of that.
How much bread in the bagel? You know, I like
How about an English
I usually
muffin?
roll the middle out of it out.
How about an English muffin?
You know, English muffins are really meant to have Egg McMuffins on. They're not really meant to make sandwiches with.
What?
The real purpose of an English muffin, in my mind, and I know it's technically not what everyone uses them for, but it's for an egg McMuffin. Like that's what 99% of the English muffins that I've ever purchased have been used to either make my own Egg McMuffins.
Really,
Toast it with jam or something.
I'm a big English muffin guy. Like that's generally if I make a sandwich and like pack one for the office to have for lunch, I'll make a turkey sandwich out of an English muffin because it works out really well because it's smaller than your average.
Yeah.
If you're ever trying to cut calories, instead of having like 250 calories in between two pieces of bread, you have an English muffin that's like 125. You just cut it right in half. Portion control.
Tim, because you're so nervous for the trip, are you like having a going away meal for dinner tonight? Like,
no, I'm not. I actually have no appetite.
Oh my God.
To be perfectly frank with you,
did you check your
body
email yet?
feels like the
I woke up this morning with absolutely no appetite, and it's actually been the worst day yet. So no, I'm not hungry.
Tim's fear of, is it the fear of flying or the fear of the trip? Because you fly fine.
Oh, flying doesn't bother me at all. I could sit on a plane and fly all day. That does not bother me. It's the least of my concerns.
I genuinely feel bad for you right now. Like you seem pained for this excursion.
Just don't like to travel. I'm anxious about a lot of things. This time next week it'll all be over.
Well, we'll have to get your recap on that. So Tim's appetite suppression, you can be like Tim and be anxious about going on a trip, or you can do cocaine for 3 straight days and have no appetite and end up with the same result, Geoff. Tim's on the other Hollywood diet right now.
I am no longer even though I'm laughing, I don't think I've seen the humor in Tim's predicament right now. Like I'm genuinely hear pain in his voice.
It's okay. You're there to comfort him through. We've already got his boarding pass checked off. So he doesn't have to deal with that. Paul has already assured him that he can check in with his phone to get into the place. You're bringing Diet Coke. People are going out of their way to make sure that Tim is comfortable.
And I do appreciate that, and I mean that.
And then you'll meet some people there, and they'll be like, Cust, you're the best. And you'll feel great. You'll get all the credit.
Yeah, don't yell at me at the golf course if you see me, please. Don't yell at me. If you want to come up to me and say hi, that's fine. I that would be great, actually. But don't like yell at me from across the golf course. Like I wouldn't care for that.
Have you had a problem with
like
people
Cam
yelling at you?
This is what happened at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was a loud environment, though.
I suspect. Well, fair enough. But anyway, just don't yell at me, please.
This is like the comments that you had to get people to leave for Cam. Like if you're going to see us this weekend, you have to put air in Tim's tires.
Yeah, please be nice to me because I will not be in a great mental space. So please be kind to me. That's all I ask.
So if you see Tim, be kind to him. Okay, you can be as mean as you want to me and Geoff, but just be nice to Tim if you see him in person.
That's all I ask.
I don't care either way. Just say whatever the fuck you want to me. Geoff is a bit more sensitive than me, though, so maybe be nice to Geoff too.
No, in person.
Compliment Geoff on the clothing he's wearing. Tell him he made the right choice of what to bring.
Tell him he looks like an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Chargers and make his weekend.
Yeah.
I got like one light
tell him that the low crown visor he bought for Team International looks really sporty.
No, but I am looking. Hey, never. But I am looking for a flat brim.
Oh, you would.
International lid, like
that could be worth something. I think the international team has a real chance of being shut out.
Shut out.
Shut out. I'm not even joking. I was thinking about this today. I think the U.S. team might win by the largest margin that anyone's ever won by in this tournament.
That's on the table, but think about
that's possible.
Think about match play in this way, Tim. I've played on our golf trip now for 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. I have yet to win any opening singles match, and I have won every single one of those matches.
Yeah,
by score.
you're right. The international team could just fall backwards into 2 or 3 or 4 wins. But I think this might be close to a mathematical wrap come Saturday night.
Like, Geoff, for example, the first year I played, I won my match by 13 strokes, and we halved.
I'm starting to think Tim wants them to go up like 14-0, so they call the event or something.
He doesn't want to go on Sunday.
Well, yeah, I don't plan to go on Sunday. There's other things on the go for me, but in my mind anyway, what I'd like to do. But I just, I expect the United States to absolutely trounce them.
Yeah, they might. But I would look at it, I would just tell
In fact, I would lay down a marker at this point and say the U.S. are as free of money as you can imagine, pretty much.
I tend to agree with Tim.
As I've said for years, and I'll regret not doing it, and I said it on our preview show that's already out on Mayo Media, that there is always, from a small house at home appliance to a renovation, like potentially available for you if you have the cojones on Team USA.
Well, particularly just it's in Canada. Like, how many internationals are really traveling to Canada versus how many Americans are going to travel to Canada? Like, it's not going to be like a European Ryder Cup or even the one in Australia. So.
Well, Geoff made this point on the preview show already. There's no way you would watch that already. It's funny that you guys came to the same conclusion, but being in Canada is a huge advantage for the U.S. players. They don't have to get out of their normal routine.
Jet lag, even. Like, they have a chance maybe when these guys go somewhere. You go to Asia, maybe they don't, make the same foods or so. I don't know, just the weirdest little things that can throw them off rhythm. It's like, I think the crowd, I disagree though. I think the crowd will be definitively you'll visually be able to see that it is very one-sided for international. Maybe I'm wrong. There'll be a lot of Americans, but no way they'll be more than 70-30.
A few years back, the irons were the best part of my golf game. But after a swing change about 2.5 years ago, my driver's an absolute weapon at this point, but all of a sudden I couldn't hit my long irons, and even some of my short irons just were not going on the same trajectory that I always wanted them to, or at least that they used to do. So when I heard how the new PXG Black Ops irons can dramatically improve my game, of course I had to give them a try, anything to improve my golf game. So I called up PXG and I got my current irons and I took the PXG Irons Challenge and it has been amazing. The consistency off the club face is unparalleled to any club that I have ever used. Best thing about these irons is because I feel so comfortable that I'm gonna hit the sweet spot on them, I can control the club face, the high, the low, the cut, the draw, no problem. And the new PXG Black Ops irons are the game improvement missile launchers that are going to give you explosive distance, and it's going to feel softer than a baby bunny. The new Black Ops irons are incredibly easy to hit and maximize performance and fun, because getting better is fun. Oh, and they're only $149.99 a stick. That's a great price for a great golf iron. Take the PXG Irons Challenge. It's a ton of fun, and if PXG's new Black Ops irons don't outperform your current irons by delivering either more distance or tighter dispersion, that means better accuracy, during your fitting, you'll get a $100 MasterCard rewards card. Hurry! This offer ends October 7th. Book your fitting today at pxg.com. That's pxg.com. Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Supercharger, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. Let's get back to the games. The late set of games this week starts in Arizona, Washington at Arizona. We don't know the result of the Washington game so far because it's on Monday night. The Cardinals are favored by 5 points at home. 49.5 is the over-under right now. This game and the Jags game is tough in terms of the spread because I feel like these spreads aren't going to be anywhere near what they're going to be tomorrow after these games are played. Like if the Jags beat the Bills, that Texans one goes down to 3.5 or 3. If they get waxed, it goes up to 6.5. If Washington beats Arizona, this goes down to 3.5, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
So what do you make of it without knowing that result? Like Washington kind of seems like the shitty version of Arizona.
I like Arizona quite a bit.
Oh, quite a bit. Okay.
It's a
They're on
flag
the money
football
line.
game.
They're on the money line parlay.
Okay. Well, they're 5-point favorites. Do you like them -5?
Yeah, I do. I think they're going to win the game comfortably. I think Washington defense is terrible, and I think Arizona has the potential to score a ton of points. See, the over-under is 49.5 in this game. I would tend towards the over, and I think Arizona's going to win this by 10 or more. I think they score a ton of points in this game. I really like the Cardinals here.
Flag football vibes.
Yeah, but is that good or bad, though? Because it's not like Arizona's defense is amazing.
I mean, just to his comment on the total, it just Kyler versus Daniels, which had some indigestion there. Felt like some serious flag football situation. Kyler might be the best flag football quarterback on earth. And I think that might actually really play against the worst defense in the NFL.
I mean, do we know it's the worst defense in the NFL? It looked like the Broncos had the worst offense in the NFL until they played the Buccaneers. It's 2 weeks. What do we really know?
Not a lot. I certainly know shit.
I do know that they like putting that St. Just guy in NFL Canada commercials, and they have very few highlights of him actually making plays where he's not getting scored on. So that's tough.
Well, they had to edit Claypool out of them.
They did. A lot of Chuba Hubbard in those videos.
Yeah, and the there's a safety on Miami who's Holland.
Yeah,
who's
Javon
really
Holland
good.
is good, yeah. I'll take
Yeah.
Washington in this game +5. High scoring game. I think Arizona's going to be, listen, they're going to score a ton of points here. I think Washington's probably going to score a ton of points as well. And if Daniels remains healthy and he's in this game, it just feels, he has such backdoor cover vibes to him of just breaking off a big one, either throwing it deep or just running past everyone when the defense isn't super trying to get back within 4 points at the end of the game. And that's just it.
Yeah, I think those are all sound points. I wish I could argue against them. I can't.
Where are you at, Geoff?
Arizona.
Okay. Oh, your team. Kansas City and the Chargers. I do have a report on the alt-right side of the line for the Los Angeles Chargers. Would you like to hear it?
I mean, we should just forfeit the game. No one should play. We should show up after our bye to our next football game. But I don't know any reports.
It is a MCL ligament damage to it. It's a mild sprain. Let's see. The deep fibers of the MCL attached to the meniscus, so grade 2 moderate sprains, because it's a partial tear, takes 4 to 6 weeks.
Ooh.
Mild sprains don't involve the meniscus and the ligament intact, and those take 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a sprained MCL, but they're still trying to figure out what the severity of the sprain is. So he could be all right, like 2 to 3 weeks to feel better, but he just might throw on a brace and play anyway, or he could be like out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like surgery is going to be needed. Just like Pittsburgh, they just beat the fuck. It was like losing a battle and a war. Slater strained a pec, didn't tear a pec. He will not play in the game. Justin Herbert will not play. Like,
really? I think he is going to play.
Will not play.
I think he's playing, man. I think he's going to be like, hey, coach, I'm fine. Like, he tried to get back in the game, and I saw afterwards, he's like, oh, he just couldn't plant off the foot. If he is 30%, he is going to angle to be in the game, and Jim Harbaugh is going to be like, I like that moxie, kid. You get in there. Give him hell.
He will not play. He will not play. Like, let my people go. He will not play. He is not playing without Slater, and all it sucks. Like, we're certainly not at a point where the Chargers can out football the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was found out. But you are not playing Justin Herbert. There's a bye week after. There's just a chance to just breathe for a moment. It's a long season. I was never one of these goobers on the internet. Tim even played his role, telling me this is going to be a double-digit win. Not a chance. There's still an opportunity to have a good season, battle for a 7th wildcard spot. God forbid he plays. Like, I am of the point, like, it's a preseason game for the Chargers. No one should play. I'll enjoy my day in Montreal, not having to worry about it. Because white flag is a white flag game. If he plays, I'm going to turn on a lot of people. Like, I'm not going to be able to trust people. And trust is important.
Will you go back into Spanos' DMs about it if he does play?
He's not playing. Like, if you
That
you
wasn't
guys
an answer to the question.
I think it was a partial answer.
We're so far down the line of hypotheticals because he is not playing. I'll bet he doesn't play.
What's more likely, the international team wins or he plays on Sunday?
The international team wins
No.
because there's a chance.
Can you give me
If
odds
he
on him playing?
I would do anything. I'd make a bet. I will not eat Tim's cat food, but I will make a bet.
Cats don't eat hearty stroganoff, Geoff.
Jared could put cat food on your plate and you wouldn't know that it didn't come from that fucking plastic pallet.
I don't understand your constant angry antipathy towards these MREs. They're delicious.
No, they're disgusting, and they're only meant to be eaten if there's a zombie outside your door.
Are you saying I'm like opening an umbrella indoors? I'm tempting fate by
No,
eating these things?
I'm saying they're only designed to be eaten in like the worst. You have too many good things going for you in life to be eating them, is what I'm saying. Like, you live in a lovely city, you're free to do whatever you want, and you like, and then to enjoy them. Like, I get, like, okay, I'm doing this, it's for the content, but you enjoy them. But I don't want to distract. He shouldn't play. It would show me, despite like a vision that I am excited about, it would show me we've truly got no grown-ups and the Chargers are fucked. You want to know what was good about Sunday? There's one little thing. The Tom Telesco team lost to the Panthers, and Brandon Staley is under attack. He is under attack. You know? Jeez. Maybe
Oh,
Christ,
Jeffrey. Oh, Jeffrey.
some of these coaches could use it. Oh, okay. Can you guys get me out of here?
This Herbert thing has really thrown you for a loop, hasn't it?
Well, he's not playing.
But he might. Bet his under on rushing if he plays. Hey, listen, Trevi played with the same injury last year against the Saints and was great on a Thursday night.
This line was like 10 last night, wasn't it? When we did the
you're
opener?
right.
So like it's kind of saying that like maybe he is.
I think he's going to play.
The line movement would suggest that he is going to play. Geoff, how do you feel about that?
Like, it will.
Are you trying to think of other anti-terror techniques that you'd like to
No, I'm
see?
trying to like explain that you have 500 concerns and I have one, and I just don't want him playing. I do not. They do not have both the tackles are out. It would be malpractice to play him unless he's not actually hurt, but I believe he's hurt. Just take the loss, move on. We couldn't beat the Chiefs. Get to the bye week. I can't believe that there's a vibe that he might play. Or maybe you guys are just fucking with me. I don't know.
I mean, I think it was like 10 last night, and we were like worried for you. But in fairness, the total at 39.5 would be like a non-Herbert total, I would guess.
Bosa's hurt too, and it took a play.
Shocking.
It was.
Hold on. He had played the second most snaps. We saw that, didn't we, Tim?
Mm-hmm. And then there he was. Next time I saw him, he was on the sidelines in a ball cap, in street clothes.
Yeah, it's an issue. It's a problem. It was just we lost like 4 of our 5 best players in one game. It was kind of like the Bills game versus the Jags last year. Like it wasn't just a loss. It was like a loss that I don't want to play Pittsburgh again ever.
So you're taking the Chiefs?
Yeah. Herbert's not playing. The Chiefs will win and cover.
I'm taking the Chargers
Chiefs
here because Herbert's playing, or even if Heineke plays. 7's a lot of points.
I'm trusting Geoff. I'm going to take the Chiefs here.
Chiefs are on a nice cover.
Do you think he's going to
here.
play?
I doubt it. Say like 95% no.
I mean, Paul's on to something. This line moved 3 points.
That's crazy. What's it at right now?
7.
What? I haven't even been listening to that. What the fuck is happening? I can't. No, he's not playing. Let's just pick a new. Who are they? Let's just pick the Chiefs. Good for them. They win a game. 4-0. They're not even playing well, and they're 4-0.
They're 3-0.
Well, this week won't be.
Then they'll be 4-0.
But I'm worried Pat's right. Like Harbaugh's gonna be like, he says he wants to play. Let him play. Oh my God.
New England and San Francisco is up next. San Francisco's dealing with myriad injuries as well. No Trent Williams, no George Kittle, no Deebo Samuel, and no Christian McCaffrey. I suppose there's a chance that Deebo comes back this week, but I very much doubt that. I haven't seen any update on the offensive line of the Patriots as of yet. I actually like the Patriots in this game, Tim. I know that sounds sad and odd.
No, I get it.
Just,
I'm going to take the 49ers only because their pass rush is healthy enough that the Patriots offensive line, which is just in complete tatters, just won't be able to hold up. This game could be like 17-3 for the 49ers, but I like San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from on that. It worried the moment Trent Williams left the game, San Francisco couldn't do shit offensively. Like you could be down as many Kittles or Deebos or McCaffreys as you want when you lose the guy who's the premier blocker on your team, and then you can't do anything anymore. The pass defense is good. Christian Gonzalez will lock down either probably Juwan Jennings at this point. It'll be him or Ayuk, and they basically be able to double whoever else that they want. It's going to be a lot of Jordan Mason running into the line. I just see them like, if the Patriots can just score somewhere. Now that's a big ask for the Patriots. Maybe it's a defensive score or a special team score. I just see it being like 17-10 where the Patriots have no real chance of winning, but they cover it anyway. Like, see, 17-7 sounds good to me here on a 10.5 point spread. What do you think, Geoff? Extra rest too for the Patriots.
It's like you say San Francisco couldn't do anything, and while they did nothing, like it just felt like it was they kept shooting themselves in the foot. Like guys were dropping balls, they weren't moving the sticks.
They were great, like starting in their own. Like listen, they were very reminiscent of Detroit from the week before, where they had a ton of yards, but a lot of those yards came early in the game when it was crunch time to end that game. They couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean they got down there and they had to settle for a field goal after not getting a 3rd and a 4th and 1. Yeah, this game really hurt me last week. I'm going to take the 49ers.
Cleveland and Vegas. Vegas is a 1-point underdog, and Antonio Pierce, Geoff, has said today that they are not certain who's going to play quarterback for them now.
I saw those comments. And then he was asked to clarify, and he says, like, I don't bite my tongue. So
he is going to be fired within 3 weeks.
The Raiders just seem like the worst, the shitty golfer, Pat, who does have like the first round, like 61 in them. Like their floor is so low. They've already shown in the season, like they can be so pesky and at the same time be such dog shit.
Well, they have such good skill guys in the receiving game that you're like, oh, these guys can break it up. Like Bowers is great. Devontae is great. Trey Tucker is not bad. Like in like they have the like if you put a reasonable quarterback and a reasonable play caller, like Minshew might be that guy. Give him like a heartbeat at running back, which they do not have between three of them, and like a competent play caller, and you could really utilize this offense. Like I'm trying to think of like who's do you think has like the best OC on a team that just can't do anything? Like imagine if Kevin Stefanski coached this team instead of Deshaun Watson, the team that they're playing. Like this offense would be great.
I mean, I guess so. I'm very concerned when the coach said that he thought Aiden O'Connell might give the team a spark. That's distressing because he played a lot of games last year, including one where I'm pretty sure they lost 3-0 to the Vikings. So I'm not so sure he provides any spark.
Like that's a guy that sounds like the comments of a guy who leaves his coaching job and doesn't join Fox. He joins CTESPN.
and despite it all, I can't in good conscience take the Browns. So I'm just going to take the Raiders here, and I hate it.
I'm going to take the Raiders as well. If they start Aiden O'Connell, I'm not taking the Raiders. But I'm just going to assume that's all posturing, and they start Gardner Minshew, Geoff.
I'm with you. I would want off it if it is O'Connell. I'm willing to trust the team that beat Baltimore to win this game. Watson, and I don't know.
That was just an awful loss to the Giants. Just an awful loss.
Yeah, it wasn't good. When you lose to the Giants, it's a real bad scene for your team. Now,
home like that,
stuff can flip at any point. It's like if Wills comes back, and if Conklin comes back, and if Teller comes back, then maybe the Browns are a different team. They'll be able to run the ball again. They'll be able to pass block, which they have not been able to do. But being down 3 O-linemen, and your 3 best O-linemen, this is another team. Just I don't know what I was thinking, knowing, I mean, Wills wasn't injured last week, and he got banged up in the game against the Giants. But when you're down Teller and Conklin, like, what are you going to do? Like the whole right side of your line, no one can block. And Watson needs help. Like it's not like he's a great quarterback right now who can manufacture it himself. No, like he needs time to throw and like assess what's going on. He doesn't have it. Max Crosby's hurt though. I don't know if he's going to play. It's a round of Vegas.
Talk way too much about this terrible game.
All right. How about Sunday Night Football? Buffalo. Is Buffalo at Baltimore? Yeah, it's Buffalo at Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 2.5 in the game. Bills obviously haven't played yet this week. Ravens coming off a nice win in Dallas, but it was probably closer than it should have been. I feel like this game follows almost the exact same script because the Bills D sucks.
And they're soft.
Are they?
I think the Bills are a pretty soft team.
Why do you say
that?
I haven't seen any evidence from them in the first 2 weeks to make me think on defense they're anything but a soft franchise.
I just don't.
Couldn't tackle Arizona at all. The Dolphins did themselves in with weird picks, balls bounce off people's hands before that game got out of control. I've seen nothing from the Bills so far to make me think that they're a steady, confident team. I expect Jacksonville to have some success against them this evening. I like the Ravens here. I like the Ravens to eat their lunch.
You're like trolling a little bit, right?
Not really. No, I really haven't. I'm not impressed by Buffalo through 2 weeks. They're the only competition I have in the division, and as I look at them, I go, "What competition?"
I mean, like, sure, they're have flaws, but I don't know what from watching through the TV you're able to call them soft. That
their defense can't tackle and can't play very good football. They're soft defense.
Paul would like to comment.
You were literally telling me last night when I showed up to the office that you liked the Bills on Monday Night Football and you liked them in this exact spot.
To win.
So what changed? No, but you said that you liked them against the Ravens and that they own the Ravens.
You also said that on the show last night.
You literally flopped over it's been less than 24 hours. What changed?
I think the Bills are about to play, so his like Bills hate is like festering.
He's been spending some time on Bills Reddit today.
Oh, what was Bill's Reddit saying today?
They can be as confident as they like. They're not that good. The thing is, my division is basically a free buy, and I don't want to hear from them talking about how they, the Jets are no concern of ours. Now that the Dolphins have basically pulled themselves out of the race, it's just it's a free run to a fifth championship. I don't see Buffalo's competition at all.
You go to like a team fan space and get mad that like fans.
I needed something to take my mind off things, Geoff.
I mean, I've already embarrassed. Well, I've put myself out there. Like I like Jags in all forms on the Monday. So
I don't like Jags to win the game tonight, but I do like the Jags to cover tonight.
So I think the spread gets bigger because we'll have Bills off a short week, off a close game. Embarrassing comment, I know. Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore here. That'll be a fun Sunday nighter after our day.
I'm on the opposite side of a lot of you guys here. I like Buffalo. Give me Josh Allen as an underdog. Done.
Huh?
And for as
I
much
love
as he
Josh
wants to
Allen.
say that the Bills are a soft team, they might have the toughest quarterback in football. That means something.
Yeah, I don't know where he gets that. He's making it up. He's truly making it up because they had trouble tackling a flag football team in
I've been
Arizona.
saying it for years. I've been saying it for years, and I stand by it. I think the Bills are not a tough-minded team. I think they're an indoor dome team that happens to play outside, and as soon as someone starts to push them around, they fold.
I actually agreed with you for a very long time, and I think they've gone out of their way to construct a team that is not that anymore.
We'll see. I still think they're a house of cards.
Yeah, they're a team that almost like you want to play to the under. They'd like to run the football. That would be their preferred way of playing football right now.
Well, good thing is the books are available for you to take the Bills as much as you'd like.
The receiving core, I mean, like it's still pretty, like I think they're still waiting for guys to step up and get comfortable.
Shakir, like by advanced metrics, has been one of like the 10 best receivers in football in terms of route running, separation rate, and just the amount of catchable passes that he attracts because he's so open when he gets open. It's just they don't have any name value on their team, and that's tough. But it kind of fits with the mold that they're rolling with right now. It's Josh Allen. It's the Josh Allen and players, and that's the way that they want to roll. It's like a very anonymous team. But it is the defense that scares me. Obviously, they might just give up 50 points, and that's it. And they're playing on a short week as well, double prime time, Monday night into Sunday night. Well, let's go to next Monday Night Football. We do not know who is starting for the Dolphins, but they're 1-point underdogs at home to Tennessee. They lost this game last year when the Dolphins actually had their full complement of players. Who do you think starts, Geoff? Are you okay?
I think I'm got to sneeze. Skylar Thompson.
He has a rib injury. I don't know if did Tajiri come and blow like green mist in your face or something? What's happening?
I had a sneeze and it got me. I got. Well, I was asked a question. Happens.
I think Huntley's going to start, Tim.
I'll tell you who it can't be. It can't be Tim Boyle.
Wow. What if they want to have a boiler room brawl?
You cannot play Tim Boyle. We had a Dolphin fan friend of ours bailing on the team for the season pretty much. You'd never seen someone have 20 seconds to stand back to throw a Hail Mary and then throw it 6 yards down the field. Skylar Thompson didn't play great. Tim Boyle, it cannot play. So, yes, by process of elimination, it really ought to be Huntley. I expect they'll start Skylar Thompson, though, because their coach has the utmost confidence in them. So they'll continue to play Skylar Thompson and lose and score like 9 points. The Titans are favored. The Titans should be favored. I like the Titans.
I like Miami. I can't do it with the Titans. I have them ranked last in football in my power rankings, Geoff. They fucking suck.
I don't think they're not the worst team.
They are the worst team in football.
They're really not.
They're actively the worst team in football.
No,
too,
I don't.
They go out of their way to bury themselves.
Jeff's right about that. They're maybe the dumbest team, but not the worst team.
What's Dolphins Reddit saying today, Tim?
You know what? I haven't been on there since that Thursday night because I don't take any joy in a team whose season has ended because of a terrible injury. That's not the same.
Yeah, fair enough. I was shocked at how like bad Miami, and I put McDaniel in this, they were in short yardage situations on the verge of like being able to get points. Like Boy Genius should make a backup quarterback look better than he is in a
Maybe-
way that
what if he did?
Okay, that is a fair and balanced back and forth discourse. That is something that I'm willing to take under consideration. Because I like that coach. Maybe they should start Hundley. Maybe they should. I think Hundley might give him the best chance to win, but I think if Thompson's healthy to go, as Tim said, I think the coach will start him.
I think Miami's defense has been better than expected through 3 weeks, and maybe it's just a product of their offense being bad, so teams don't have to throw the whole playbook at them. I can see Tennessee doing the stupidest things imaginable to lose this game. And Mostert should be back this week. They'll have A-Chain and Mostert. They'll be able to run the ball more effectively. You'd think, I mean, I don't know if Skylar Thompson's even going to practice this week. That's why I don't think that it's going to be him. But I just, when I see a team like Tennessee and they're favored on the road, like they're just going to dig their own grave. And I got to go against that. I know you guys are all taking Tennessee. I'll take Miami.
I feel like at this moment in time, I'm taking the Titans. If Hundley is starting, I might even bet the Dolphins, though. But we're here on Monday. Put me down for Homer Simpson's brain. I'll bet on it.
Seattle and Detroit ends the week. Detroit's a 4.5-point favorite at home against the 3-0 Seahawks. Seahawks fans already mad at me, Tim, for my spot of them in the power rankings at number 12, despite being 3-0. They really haven't played anyone yet this year.
Yeah, 12 is generous. I probably would have them lower than that.
Well, what if they win this game convincingly? What are we talking about then? Then are they actually
that
good?
That changes the discourse. But they'd have to do that first.
I don't know.
I haven't been impressed with them for 3 weeks, and so they won the games they had to play. They were scheduled, and all the power to them. But they haven't played anybody significantly good, and so I like the Lions here. Where I think it's a good team who got lucky the last couple of got lucky on 2 of their 3 wins, but got unlucky in their 1 loss. So it's sort of balancing a little. I like the Lions here, and I like them on the parlay, the last part of the parlay.
Geoff, the Seahawks are basically Boise State right now.
This might be my super lock.
Yeah, they're Gonzaga. That's who they are.
I mean, they are 3-0. They're going cross country for Monday night football.
Hold on. When you say cross country, that's not really true now, is it?
It's the farthest possible trip.
It's pretty close to Seattle. It's in the Midwest.
Oh, no, it's not the farthest part, but it's going from the Pacific time zone to the Eastern time zone. It is a lot of travel from Detroit.
I can drive to Detroit.
Yeah,
it takes me 4 hours to drive to Detroit.
Yeah, you know what, Geoff? You live in the center of your country.
It is a far fucking trip. It is a.
It's what is the plane ride Seattle to Detroit?
Whatever.
3 hours.
That's irrelevant.
He doesn't live close.
I don't care. It doesn't even matter.
Close.
It's a night game.
The center of this country is like Thunder Bay or like the Winnipeg, or the Manitoba border.
I don't even care. It doesn't matter. I'm wrong. That's fine.
You aren't
It doesn't
wrong.
even matter because the
trip.
game. Who cares, Tim? The game's not even a 1 o'clock start. It's a Monday night primetime game. Not really an issue. 3-0 team. Ben Johnson, carve.
I'm taking Seattle. This feels like a Fienberg game. Detroit wins. Detroit, listen, Tim mentioned it. They should have lost opening week. They should have lost to the Cardinals and got bailed out by a stupid 2-minute warning in a game that would have been completely flipped on its head. And you could say that they should have beat the Bucks. They had a ton of offense. They had a ton of offense against Arizona too and only scored 20 points. Eventually the onus is on them to score a fucking touchdown eventually. What is it? Yesterday they ran the slant to Brown. It's to St. Brown that was in. Their other touchdown came on a hook and a ladder. Like, they have not
You're
been
not
good.
wrong. You're all fair points.
It's a lot
I
like
am
it's
like-
a lot like the San Francisco thing that we just talked about. They're great at moving the ball in between the 20s. They can't get in the end zone every time they get down there.
I'm happy to. I don't have an issue stepping in front of Seattle. It wasn't a hard decision. I don't even know what they are.
I
And
see.
maybe-
I don't know what they are either, but I feel like the line is reflecting that. Like, I don't understand why this is a 4.5 point line. Are they really saying that Seattle's that bad? Shouldn't this be a 3-point line for everything that we've seen from Seattle?
No.
Why?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Why though?
We
Please
haven't seen
explain
much
to me
from,
why.
they haven't seen
I
much
don't
from
have
Seattle.
any hard data to say why, but no. No. Maybe 4. Like, I get it. There's a bit of an unknown. I think there's just a shoe to drop with Seattle, who's still gonna have a great season. Do what they need to do. Big fan of the new coach. This is stupid league. It's about spots. They're not. I like Detroit. I like it to consider it for super lock.
4.5.
Gino's playing great.
4.5 doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they should be 3 or 7.
No, I think the Lions are about 2 points better than Seattle right now. And
So you
the
think it
game
should
was
be
in Detroit? So yeah, it's 2.5 plus you add the 2 points. Yeah, it's about right. I think it's a fair point. It's a
What
fair
was
line.
it last night? Is it the same as as the end of the show?
Yeah, it's still 4.5. It's just Seattle could be the better team of these two teams. Like, that's on the table.
I haven't seen enough from Seattle to
Mm.
think that they should be close to Detroit's level. Not yet, anyway.
But what have you seen from Detroit this year? What have you seen from them?
They played well.
This reminds me a lot like the Texans, where, yeah, on paper, this team is supposed to be good. We expect them to be really good, and they just haven't.
I have to trust the team that can get into the red zone a lot with those players are finally going to like have the breakthrough game, I guess.
Okay.
Like the bad, you hit it close enough to the pin, you're going to hit the putts, you think, sometimes.
Kenneth Walker, I think, will be back for this game. I just think that Seattle weirdly has a lot of really big play potential. We saw it against the Patriots. They didn't do much. Boom, DK, 90-yard touchdown. It happened again last week. And then you inject Kenneth Walker back into that mix. I think he's way better than Charbonnet, and Charbonnet's been okay since Walker's been out. I just think they can kind of pound you with him and then set you up for those big plays. And I don't know if Laporta's going to play in this game. And not only is that a threat to them in terms of the receiving game, it's also a threat to them in terms of the blocking game that they have too. Their offensive line is fine, but it's enhanced when you really need that extra protection, even someone to chip and then go run a route. I don't know. I'm a bit wigged out by it. And maybe I'm way off on Seattle, but I do like them to cover the 4.5.
I kind of feel the same way about this game as I did Jets Patriots.
And listen, then ride Detroit as hard as you can then, because they're going to kill them. But to say that Seattle's in the classification, like Detroit's probably better than the Jets or around similar. And Seattle is, I know they went to overtime, but Seattle's way better than New England is.
I'll give you that. That I got no, will not get a pushback on me from me.
Tim, I wouldn't say that the question with Seattle is, can they score more than 3 points in this game?
No, I agree with that. This is like a 23-17 type game.
Okay.
I like Detroit.
And I'm the only one on Seattle, only one on Miami, only one on Buffalo. Geez, only one on New England, only one on the Chargers, only one on Washington.
You like bad teams.
I do. I listen. Bad teams.
I like good teams this week.
Betting bad teams has been the strategy of 2024.
Well, then you should be successful because every one of those teams you just rattled off is a bad team.
You think that Buffalo was a bad team?
Buffalo is so overinflated.
No. You just called them a bad team. You just did this to Geoff earlier. You didn't answer the question. Do you think that Buffalo is a bad team?
I think they will be bad.
What does that mean? Like in 10 years, you think they'll be bad, or do you think they're bad
we'll look back on this season and go, well, they went like 9-8, but that's like great.
So you think if a team goes 9-8, they're a bad team?
I don't know.
If the Jets went 9-8 this year, you'd be like, what a year for the Jets!
Whatever. I just wanted to take a shot at the Bills because I don't like them. I got no one else to cheer against in my division. I got no one else to turn my fire on now. Like Miami and the Patriots are already checked out, so like I got nowhere else to go.
We're getting it, folks. We're getting it.
Getting what?
Just like what we've been waiting for.
What have you been waiting for?
You
This-
like
this.
you like this bravado that you like tried to you had last off season. You
Well,
just
what bravado do I need to show when my team is the best at everything and the Bills are they have no defense?
They should have lost to the Titans, the worst team in football, and then beat
But
the
they didn't.
Patriots, maybe the second worst team in football.
Yeah, well, we have the Bills in a couple of weeks on a Monday night.
I'm
Maybe
sorry,
we just
you got to
basically punch our division ticket there.
you got to get through Denver first this week.
Just given the way that the Dolphins and Patriots are checked out of the year, and the Bills are not as good as I think they are. Like,
How are they
Thanksgiving
not?
is
How are they not?
looking right around.
Hold on. How are they not as good as you think they are?
Well, I'm presuming that they struggle this evening against Jacksonville and just barely pull off a win.
And according
they're
to
only
that statement, you
2-1.
think they're actually worse than that?
So they're 2-1 going into this Ravens game where they're going to get beaten. They play the Jets in a couple of weeks where they're going to get beaten. I'm telling you that right around Thanksgiving, we could actually have things locked up in the AFC East.
There it is.
Things are breaking the way I want them to break. The dominoes are beginning to fall in the way that I want them to. It's exciting. I'm in the least competitive division in the conference, but I'm good.
Super locks for week number 4. We were a collective 0-3 last week. Let's get that back. I'm 2-1 for the year. Geoff, you're 0-2, and Tim, you're 1-2. Geoff had a push in there with the Seahawks at one point. I already mentioned it earlier. I'm taking Tampa plus 2.5 at home against the Philadelphia Eagles as my super lock.
Detroit.
Call.
Detroit
Pittsburgh.
minus 4.5.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh was going to be my play if I didn't enjoy Tampa so much. So Pittsburgh minus 1.5 in Indy.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the 3. Survivor, I am out twice, so I officially cannot make picks anymore. You two are still alive in Second Chance Survivor. You both have a loss on the schedule, but you're still going head to head on this one. Who do you guys like?
Oh, boy.
49ers.
So you cannot use them, Tim, because you used them last week and they lost.
Even though I haven't re-upped yet, don't I get a fresh go of all the teams?
No, because Geoff didn't get a fresh go of all the teams that he had previously used.
Well, only one team, but okay. Fair enough. If you can't use the Bengals again, I guess. Well, then I suppose I am obliged to play the Chiefs.
The Chiefs you just did this last week on almost an identical spread.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know, but the Chargers can't win this game.
I say Herbert's
Yeah, that was the pick.
Herbert's definitely playing now.
No, he's not.
And to recap your free money line parlay for the week to try to get you on the where you say it plays 3-1.
Just under plus 284. Steelers, Lions, Cardinals.
Okay, and that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Even listen, is this your favorite length of show, Tim? Right around here.
Yes, absolutely. Feel like it did everything it needed to accomplish.
I actually tend to agree with Tim on this one. I feel like this is the sweet spot. 2:15 is the sweet spot for the show, Geoff.
I agree. I just hope there's people out there that cost him a single piece of lettuce, 2 slices of tomato next time.
Is a tomato a problem for you? You don't feel like a tomato man, Tim.
Yeah, he says he
I don't-
wastes the tomato.
I don't even care for tomato that much, to be honest with you.
It's just the lettuce.
It's like a lettuce or like a third of an onion would be nice. Or like,
Why don't you
half
just,
a cucumber or
Why don't you just go to Subway and ask them for like a bag of toppings?
you know what you need to do is don't go to the produce section and like where the full vegetables are. Go to like the chopped up vegetables section where it's like the fresh but already chopped up.
I've done that.
They have
I've
much
done that
smaller
before.
they're way more expensive, but they're smaller
Yeah,
portions.
I've never looked at the price, but I have picked up, like mirepoix there before. That's pre-sliced because I hate doing that.
Why?
Because I don't like chopping onions, makes me cry. And I don't like to chop carrots because they're hard, and then celery, and I never use enough celery. God forbid you buy one piece of celery. Now you got to buy this monstrosity with like an octopus that has like 8 legs on it, and you never eat it all.
You got real problems.
I got problems.
It sounds like it's tough being you.
Yeah. I mean, I know people out there have real problems, but anyway.
Maybe not as strong as you is what you're saying?
No, I think mine sound pathetic, but it's just I wish that grocery stores would make it easier for me to buy just one-offs of the things that I want rather than buying in bulk.
Why don't you open up your own grocery store for this?
I don't want to do that.
Well, I'm trying to help you solve your problems, but you don't want to participate.
I kind of just want to complain about them.
Okay, I mean, that works out for this show. The Vince McMahon documentary, Geoff? Should we do a show on that?
Yeah, why not? We want to. I'm in.
If you're feeling excited, maybe if it sucks, I don't want to do it, but I have high hopes for it. Just a lot of buzz coming around. So I want to thank all of you for watching. Thanks for joining us a day earlier than normal. And sorry about some of the spreads because they might be off by the time that you actually watch this show. But hey, shit happens, life happens, and I'd rather get the show out now than have it not work later on in the week. So smash like and sub to the channel while you are here, and please use code Mayo at Underdog to help support the show. I want to thank Geoff and Tim Undercust
Tim and Cust.
It's not my name.
for being on the line. And remember, if you see Tim in person, not even at the President's Cup, anywhere, A, do not yell at him, and B, say something nice to him, something pleasant, and give him lots of credit because he will enjoy that. All right? Sub to the newsletter. That's where all the cheat sheets will be, and I'll be back on Wednesday evening with Cam and Rob for the best bets, which were the best losing bets of last week. But hey, we'll try again in week 4, okay? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.